Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet.
Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
And thank you so much for joining us for a couple of hours of crime with Gangbusters, Dragnet, Rocky Fortune starring Frank Sinatra, and The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe and Lum and Abner. That's all straight ahead on this Friday, 29th day of December, 363rd day of the year. 2 days left till we get to 2024. British soldiers burnt Buffalo, New York during the War of 1812 on this date in 1813. In 1845, Texas admitted as the 28th state of the Union. Happy birthday, Texas. The first American YMCA opened in Boston in 1851. Thomas Edison patented the radio in 1891. In 1934, the first college basketball game at Madison Square Garden played between the University of Notre Dame and New York University in 1934. 1940, in the Second Great Fire of London, the Luftwaffe firebombed London. 200 civilians killed. The president tried to convince Americans Hitler's plans of aggression did not stop on the shores of the Atlantic.
Never before, since Jamestown and Plymouth Rock, has our American civilization been in such danger as now. We must be the great arsenal of democracy. For us, this is an emergency as serious as war itself.
The Allies were able to quash the Luftwaffe and the Axis, and evil, though, still perpetrates the world. In 1972, an Eastern Airlines Lockheed TriStar crashed on approach to Miami International Airport in Florida, killing 101. 1975, a bomb exploded at New York City's LaGuardia Airport, 11 people killed.
There were bodies, people bleeding, people with blankets over their heads. They were putting injured people in ambulances, just mass confusion, smoke all over the place.
Bombing never solved, with several suggested perpetrators, although investigators and historians believe Croatian nationalists the most likely perpetrators. In 1997, Hong Kong began to kill all the nation's chickens to stop the spread of a potentially deadly influenza strain. Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium demolished on this date in 2002, and in 2017, 12 people killed when an apartment building in the Bronx was accidentally set on fire. Passing away on this date in history, fine actor Earl Hindman, lung cancer, trumpeter Freddie Hubbard, Dr. Death Steve Williams, and Paul Whiteman. Purveyor of sweet music, Paul Whiteman, conductor, musician, passing away on this date back in 1967. Born on this date, President Andrew Johnson, inventor Charles Goodyear, musician Pablo Casal, also Mary Tyler Moore, and Roger Voudouris.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt:
Actor John Voight still with us at 85. Singer Marianne Faithfull, 77. From Cheers, Becker and the Good Place, Ted Danson, 76. Yvonne Elliman, 72 years of age. Comedian Paula Poundstone, 64. From the talented Mr. Ripley, Jude Law, 51. From Ray Donovan, Catherine Monig is 46. From Community and Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, Allison Brie, 41. Singer Jessica Andrews is 40 today. Billy Joel and Christy Brinkley's daughter, singer-songwriter Alexa Ray Joel. Yes, doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? Alexa Ray Joel, 38. Also from Shameless and Castle Rock, Jane Levy is 34. And actor, musician, and singer Dylan Minnette is 27. Those just a few of the people celebrating the 29th day of December as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday,
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And I want to stress, we're coming up, this is Friday. It's another holiday weekend, and a lot of people will be out this weekend. Please drive safely. The life you saved might be a listener to our podcast. Okay, coming up next here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of Gangbusters from 78 years ago, December 29th, 1945. But first, I want to tell you, on our Saturday podcast, comedy, George and Gracie, Great Gildersleeve, Fibber and Molly, the Aldrich Family, and Lum and Abner. But right now, coming up in just a moment, Gangbusters. But first,
civil defense is common sense. This is Fred McMurray. Home shelters can be built for as little as $100. Simple plans for building inexpensive home shelters are available free from your civil defense office. Ask for a copy of the Family Fallout Shelter booklet.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back 78 years, December 29, 1945, the Case of Red Coleman, Gangbusters.
And now, in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States, the only national program that brings you authentic police case histories. Waterman's Pens and Waterman's Ink present Gangbusters.
Attention. Tonight, Saturday, December 29th, 1945, a crime wave of the most serious proportions is spreading throughout the United States. A serious crime is being committed every 40 seconds and a murder every 3 hours.
Waterman's Pens, every one a master writing instrument, and Waterman's Ink, the ink that goes up to 3 times as far as ordinary inks, are proud to present Gangbusters in its relentless war upon this crime wave, that this country may be a safe country in which to live. And so we present Louis J. Valentine, former commissioner of the largest police force in the world, who will interview by proxy W. Richardson, Sheriff, Jefferson County, Texas. Commissioner Valentine.
Now, Sheriff Richardson, I've waited for a long time to hear the inside facts of your famous Red Coleman case.
Well, Commissioner Valentine, this case is a far cry from the type of killers you've dealt with in New York. It's the direct opposite. A case right from the almost impregnable Thicket section of Texas.
Tell us something about this big Thicket area, Sheriff Robinson.
Well, these impenetrable woods are saturated by countless creeks, bayous, and small rivers, which makes it a natural refuge for every kind of wildlife.
Life there is pretty primitive, isn't it?
Very primitive, Commissioner. Well, in the early evening of September 18th, 1939, in one of the wildest parts of the big thicket, was a small canoe. One end pulled up a foot or two onto the shore. In the bow sat an attractive swamp girl trailing a paddle in the water. And in the middle of the canoe, a heavy-set man sat on the bottom. The stern place was empty.
This place gives me the creeps. Shove off.
I can't without him, mister.
Help me get out of this swamp, and I'll give you anything. I'll buy you a new dress.
Nah.
A lot of money.
Nah.
Why not?
He's my man. I do what he tells me.
What's that?
Alligator.
Listen, you gotta help
Here
get me out
comes
of
my
here.
man.
Everything ready now, Charlotte?
Yeah, Goldman. Stranger wants to get out of the swamp.
I'll shove off. Don't you like the big thicket, stranger?
How can I? Tied hand and foot this way.
We'll start paddling, Charlotte.
Take me back to the oil fields where you brought me from.
Up Gator Creek, Charlotte.
Coleman, you're not going to toss me to the alligators?
No. That'd be cruel, tossing a man to the gators. I ain't cruel.
Goldman ain't cruel, mister.
Then what are you going to do with me?
Kill you first.
Oh.
It wouldn't be right to toss a live man to no gators.
You shouldn't have did that, Goldman.
He had a lot of money and I wanted it.
Law officers don't hold with killing.
No law officers trouble me. Stop paddling. I'll dump them.
He's sunk.
Now I'm going to Hullstown and rob the bank.
You shouldn't never go out the big thicket, Goldman.
I can go out of the thicket any time I want and get back in. I can live in here for years on berries, catching fish and hunting game. Them law officers could never catch me in here. Start paddling, Charla. Stop the automobile in front of the Hull Bank, Ray.
You sure we ain't walking into no trap, Gorman?
Never you mind the law, Ray. I'm the law. I got business in the bank. Come on.
Yes, sir?
I want to take out some money.
Will you fill out a withdrawal slip, please, and then...
Ain't got time.
A gun?
That's right. Give me all the money in the bank.
Don't shoot. I'll give you the money.
Put it in the sack, partner.
Right.
I got a chore I want you to do.
What?
The district attorney. Know him?
Yes.
He ain't been saying good things about me. I'm going to kill him. Tell him I don't like him, so I'm going to kill him. I'm Red Coleman.
Coleman?
And don't forget, when I get in that safe there, I'm going to lock you into it.
All right, pull up over here. Come on, over here. All right.
What's this going?
We traced Goldman as far as the big thicket, Captain. He's gone into it.
You think any of the thicket natives will be willing to help us?
When it's one of their own, like Goldman, it's difficult to get them to open their mouths.
Imagine him coming out of the thicket and getting over $12,000 at the bank. He's a legend to the folks in there. Now he's wanted for burglary and assault, 5 bank robberies, murder of C.W. Braun, and 4 kidnappings. All right, quiet, men. Quiet. Now I want every single road coming out of the thicket blockaded. Then I want every available man put to work, beating through the thicket inch by inch until we find Goldman.
We'll find him.
I'll fix those roadblocks so tight that not a soul can get out of that area without being checked. I'll get going.
Taxi. Hey, taxi.
Yes, sir. Where to, mister?
Drive out on the old Sawmill Road, Bud.
I don't know as I can.
Why not?
Police got a blockade all around the whole thicket country. You're not going to let one living person come out through that ring.
Well, we're not coming out of that ring. We're going in. Besides, they must know you.
Okay. There's that blockade I was telling you right ahead.
Yeah.
Slow down, taxi! Oh, it's you, Ed.
Yeah, Sheriff. I got to get down a short hole onto the Sawmill Road.
Okay, Ed, I'll let you through.
That wasn't hard getting through, driver.
Oh, these cops all know me in the car.
Yeah. When you hit the Sawmill Road, swing right.
Okay. This corduroy road ain't very good on my tires, mister.
This is as far as we go anyway. Stop right here. Blow your horn.
What?
Do as I say. 3 short ones.
We waiting for someone?
Yeah, he's coming out.
It took plenty long, Ray.
I had to get a taxi driver that the cops would know so as he could get the car in through the blockade.
You, driver, get out.
What for, mister?
Because I told you to. I'm Goldman.
Goldman?
Get out.
Yes, sir.
Walk into the bushes. I'm going to kill you.
Oh, wait a minute. I ain't done nothing.
Walk, I said. Ray, wait here. This'll do.
Oh.
Where's the cabbie, Goldman?
Dead? In there?
I didn't hear no shots.
I hit him over the head. Maybe I didn't kill him dead enough. There's a little place on the back of the head. If I hit him there, I'll sure kill him. Just to be sure. That ought to take care of it.
Okay, Goldman?
Yeah. Put on the driver's cap. You drive out the same way you come in. I'll sit on the floor and back.
I get it. The police will recognize the taxi and think the same driver's driving.
Yeah, the same driver. Hey, wait a minute. I'll be right back.
Where you going?
Back to him. I want to make sure he's deader than dead. You sure look dead, mister. Now I feel better.
The doctor said we could only have a minute with the patient, Captain.
How did he get to the hospital here, Sergeant?
After Goldman tried to kill him, he crawled half a mile to a shack near the sawmill. The folks there sent for the ambulance.
The most miraculous escape from death I ever heard of.
Hello, Ed.
Oh. Hello, Sergeant.
Tell me, Ed, what happened?
It was Goldman.
I know. He escaped through our blockade in your taxi. The officers thought it was just you coming.
Goldman made me get out of my taxi. He walked me into the bushes and hit me in the back of my head 3 times with his gun. I made believe I was unconscious and I fell down. Goldman went away and then he come back again. He knelt down and he felt my head to know just where he hit me to kill me. Then he hit me 4 times more.
You was still conscious?
Yeah, but I didn't let him know it. Then he went away and pretty soon he come back and he shot me twice. But I didn't move. I just laid there. And then he shot me again.
Did you even groan?
No, I was too scared. He's a bad man, Sergeant. Bad man.
Yes, incredible as it was, Commissioner Valentine, that cab driver survived Goldman's murderous assault.
However, it was an episode even stranger than this one, which finally brought the police closer to Goldman's trail.
Well, I am sure we all want to hear about that episode, Sheriff Richardson. But before you tell it to us, here's a word from Waterman's.
When you like something the instant you see it, when it appeals to you in every way, you say, it's a natural. That's what Waterman's new Taperite pen is. It's really a natural. From the minute Waterman's Taperite made its appearance, people reached for it, looked at it, bought it. Yes, it's a natural. So sleek, so slim, so trim. It's beautiful. When buying a fountain pen, insist on seeing the new Waterman's Taperite. When you compare it with ordinary pens for style, for writing ease, for value, then you'll see why Waterman's Taperite sells so fast, why your dealer frequently has so few on display. In addition to the new Taperite pens, see also the new Waterman Standard Point pens, designed for those who prefer the more conventional style. Every one of these new Standard Point pens is a beautiful writing instrument. Priced as low as $3.50, with a big genuine 14-karat gold point and the other Waterman's quality features, you can find the pen you want at the price you want to pay. Remember, for the newest and the finest in fountain pens, just look for the name Waterman's. Now back to Gangbusters and Commissioner Valentine.
Sheriff Richardson, we're all anxious to know what happened next in the case of Red Goleman.
Well, Commissioner, on the morning of March 22nd, a dust-covered black sedan bounced slowly along the rutted dirt road between Kerberville and Port Arthur in Texas, on the fringe of the Big Thicket area. Jim Barnes, a resident of the Thicket, whom Red Goleman knew, was at the wheel. Suddenly, a lone man sprung in front of the car, brandishing a revolver.
Stop!
Hello, Barnes.
Hello, Goleman. What you got that gun for?
I've been looking for you, Barnes.
What?
They tell me you look like me.
So I hear tell.
I'm going to kill you, Barnes. Then bury you where they won't find you. Then I'm going to make believe I'm you.
You don't want to do that, Goleman. Folks in the Big Thicket won't like that.
I'm going to pretend I'm you and leave this part of the country.
But if you...
Get out. Now walk off the road into the thicket.
But I want to
talk to you. Walk into the thicket. Now stop.
You ain't got no cause to kill me, Goleman. I never did you no harm.
But I'm going to make out I'm you.
That district attorney, he'll know.
I'm going to kill the district attorney.
Folks in the thicket will know. No one will cover for you no more if you kill me.
I don't need him. Going to kill the head man at the bank, too. He's got too much money.
Then you hadn't ought to kill me, Goleman. If you don't kill me, you won't have to leave the thicket.
I'm going up north.
Won't like it up north. You don't know nobody. You'll be lonesome.
I don't need nobody.
You'll miss the Big Thicket, Goleman. You wish you was safe back here.
There's plenty of people up north.
Not your kind or my kind, Goleman. They don't even think like us. Your kind will be back here, where you can't never come.
You think so, Barnes?
Sure. Folks like us, we got no right outside our swamps. Here's where we belong. Here's where we're safest.
I never thought about that.
Changed your mind about me, Goleman?
Yeah. Maybe you're right.
You ain't gonna kill me?
No. I guess I don't want to leave the thicket.
Law won't find you here, Goleman. As long as you stay in the Big Thicket. You can get your girl and live there. You don't even have to come out less than you have a mind to.
Attention, all police. Jim Barnes, native of Thicket, has just reported he was kidnapped and threatened by Red Coleman near Sour Lake. Motorists are warned to avoid this area. Indications are that Coleman will kill on the slightest provocation.
What do you think of Barnes' story, Captain?
Well, it's the break we've been waiting for, Sergeant. Now we can put as much pressure on Goldman inside the thicket as we have in our blockade outside.
Pressure inside?
Yes. Barnes was a native of the thicket. And Barnes himself told us about being kidnapped and threatened with death.
But Goldman didn't harm him.
Yes, but if we play our hand right, we can make folks in the thicket see that Goldman is just as much against them as he is against the law.
I get it. We tell everyone we can about Barnes' close call, so they'll realize they may be Goldman's next victim.
Right. Now see that every law officer in this part of Texas spreads the word about Barnes' kidnapping. I think, Sergeant, somebody will tip his hand.
You want to buy something, miss?
Yeah. Give me one of them no-good writing pencils like you got over your ear. A red one.
You got money?
Sure I got money. See?
All right. All right, what else?
Give me 4 of them no-good brown cans up there.
These, beans?
Yeah. Give me some of them no-good green bags of coffee.
Them ain't coffee, them's tea.
I want 'em anyhow. I like the green color of 'em. Let me see. I want 50 plugs of that no-good tobacco.
All this is going to cost you most $5. You got that much money?
Sure I got that much money. Here. Now give me my stuff.
There you are, and there's your change. Now, where'd she get all that money? Give me the sheriff's office, quick.
Sheriff's office.
This is Orville Morney down at Vault, Sheriff.
What is it, Orville?
A swamp girl just come in, loaded with money, bought everything in sight.
Know the girl?
Yeah, lives in the thicket, way back in an old cabin her paw built 10, 12 years ago, before he shot moonshining. She lives there alone.
This may be what we've been waiting for, Orville. Those thicket folks are pretty cunning, but we'll try to follow her and surround the place.
There's her cabin, Captain.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't look like anyone's about.
The officers all placed, Sergeant?
Yes, Captain.
We don't want Goldman to slip through our fingers if he is here.
He won't.
Good. Sheriff, I guess we're ready. Let's go.
Anybody home?
Somebody just looked out the side window. Saw the curtain move.
Someone's coming.
What do you want?
You live here, miss?
Yeah.
Well, I'm the sheriff. These men are the police. We want to come in.
What for? I ain't did nothing.
What's your name?
Charla.
We want to talk to you, Charlotte.
All right. Have a quick look around the cabin, Sergeant.
What you here for?
We're looking for Red Coleman. You know him?
No. There's just one room. You can see he ain't here.
I just saw this on the shelf, Captain.
Tobacco, huh? Quite a lot of it.
That's mine.
Here's an old pipe, too. Who's your man?
Got no man. Live by myself.
How about this pipe and tobacco?
My mom used to smoke. I learned from her. It's my pipe and my tobacco.
I see. Sergeant, let's have some of that tobacco.
What you gonna do?
Just fill the pipe. Yeah, it's kind of strong. There you are. All primed for a nice smoke.
I don't have a hankering to smoke right now.
Put it in your mouth and smoke it.
Sergeant, you better let the officers outside know Goldman's not in the cabin here.
Here's a light, Charla. Come on, puff on it. That's better.
This is a no-good old pipe.
You seem to be enjoying it.
I like the smoke.
Sure, of course you do.
You do seem to like it.
I guess I've had enough now. It don't taste right.
You're getting a little white, too, aren't you?
I don't taste just right.
Of course it doesn't, because you've never smoked that pipe before. Captain, there's a man somewhere around this place.
No, I'll smoke.
And from the way she acts, she's trying to shield him.
Captain, come to the door.
Yes, Sergeant.
Captain, see that corn crib out beyond the barn?
Yes.
While our men were looking through the...
Coleman! They're coming!
Take cover, men! He's over there in the corn crib. All right, let him have it.
Watch out, men. He's a dead shot.
Sergeant, put a load of buckshot into the crib. Both barrels.
You ain't taking me, officers.
Keep closing in on him, men.
No chance to take him alive. Shoot it out, men.
Watch it, men. You'll try to make a break for it.
It's set. Door's inching open now. Duck! There he is in the door. Let him have it. All right, we got him. Close in.
Come on, man. All right, close in.
Well, this time Goldman's really through. Look, must be 20 bullet holes in him. All right, roll him over. Oh. He's dead, all right. Well, men, this is the end.
And this, Commissioner Valentine, is a picture of Goldman taken after he was finally killed and lying in the corn crib.
What a picture. Anyone who looked at this would certainly understand what we mean when we say crime does not pay. Sheriff Richardson, on Gangbusters, we try to expose criminals of all kinds, and we congratulate you and the police of Texas on this case.
Now, in just a moment, Gangbusters will broadcast its nationwide clues to persons most wanted by the police tonight. But first, certain products look alike, but one is better than another. Housewives know that, and that's why women shop so carefully. It is especially true with ink. Most inks look alike, but one is different from the others, and that one is Waterman's Blue Black Ink. Actual tests made by a nationally known independent laboratory have proved without doubt that when you fill your fountain pen with Waterman's Blue Black Ink, you write up to 3 times farther than with other nationally advertised inks tested. Yes, you get up to 6,500 extra words from each filling. This is equal to 35 extra pages of handwriting, or 2,000 signatures. And the reason Waterman's Blue Black Ink writes farther? Simply this: it's all ink, nothing added, no dilution, no harmful solvent. Save time, save trouble. Get this extra writing convenience, this extra value, by buying Waterman's Blue Black Ink. Only 10 cents at all stores. And remember, there are 7 other smart colors in Waterman's ink, all in the handy tip-fill bottle that makes pen filling easy. Now, Gangbusters Nationwide Clues, broadcast as a public service to help combat the present crime wave.
Attention, renew vigilance for Harry Dunlap. Harry Dunlap, who is being urgently sought by California authorities for escape from State Hospital and for questioning in connection with $6,000 armed robbery, Los Angeles. Listen carefully to official description. Harry Dunlap.
Age 60. 5 feet 6 inches. 145 pounds. Gray hair on sides. Bald on top. Piercing blue eyes. Long nose. Wide mouth. Face deeply wrinkled. Prominent ears. Sunken jowls. Use caution in apprehending. This man believed armed and dangerous. Watch for Harry Dunlap.
Gangbusters has just received an urgent bulletin from Sheriff Roland Meredith, Sanilac County, Michigan, on 2 escaped prisoners, Charles Townsend and J.C. Vise. These men believed to be armed and are alleged to have abducted 2 persons after their daring escape from the county jail at Sandusky, Michigan, where they were awaiting sentence on federal armed robbery charges. Sheriff Meredith describes the escaped prisoners as follows.
J.C. Vise, V-Y-S-E, 25, 6 feet 1 1/2 inches, 235 pounds, brown wavy hair, brown eyes, dark complexion, 2-inch ragged scar on left forearm. Vise has been both a fighter and a butcher by trade, known to frequent nightclubs and bars, has long criminal record.
Second escaped prisoner.
Charles Chuck Townsend, 25, 5 feet 11 inches, 175 pounds, brown hair, gray eyes, medium complexion, flashy dresser, gambler at nightclubs and taverns, has criminal record. Watch for Charles Chuck Townsend and J.C. Vise. Whereabouts last reported in southwestern part of Michigan.
These are the clues on the most urgently sought persons in the United States tonight, December 29th, 1945. If you have any information concerning these clues, notify your local police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or Gangbusters at once. Now, here is Commissioner Valentine.
Next week, Gangbusters will bring you facts never before revealed concerning one of the biggest robberies in all criminal annals.
Listen next week, same time, same station, to this authentic case on Gangbusters. As we end the old year and begin a new one, all of us who make and sell Waterman's fountain pens and inks, and those of us who bring you Gangbusters, join in saying a happy, happy New Year. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
And of course, as I obliquely mentioned earlier, a Happy New Year to you, although it's not going to be 1946 coming up, it's going to be 2024. But we will be here through as much of it as God allows me to do. December 29th, 1945, 78 years ago, Gangbusters. And of course, you know the story. We've told it before. The show started out as G-Men, profiling cases from the FBI. J. Edgar Hoover didn't like the loud, raucous nature of the program, and so it was retooled by Phillips H. Lords into Gangbusters. Now, Phillips H. Lords later on would do another show, but it was not the FBI. That show, of course, was Counter Spy, a fictionalized version of the FBI. Now, up next, following these important messages on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we'll go back 70 years, December 29th, 1953, Dragnet, Jack Webb, and the Big Steal.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Howard Duff with this reminder. 640 and 1240. These are the Conelrad frequencies during a national emergency. 640 and 1240 on your regular radio will be your only official means of receiving vital information. Remember, 640 and 1240.
I'm Wyatt Cox. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues now as we go back 70 years to December 29th, 1953. The Big Steal, Jack Webb, and Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. An organized gang of thieves is working in your city. Their method of operation is clever and fast. There's no lead to their identity. Your job, stop them. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. What do the latest reports show about Chesterfield? Well, our research laboratory has compared it with the leading cigarettes in the country. Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine. Another good reason why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king size, you'll find Chesterfield really mild, really satisfying. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, May 7th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:46 a.m. when we got to the corner of Beverly Boulevard and Fountain Streets. The Brighton Arms Apartments.
12A, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Want to try it again?
Yeah.
Just a minute. Yeah?
Miss Anderson?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, yeah, come on in.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Sit down, I'll put some coffee on.
All right.
That's the only way to do it, Joe.
What?
Coffee grinder, hear?
Well, that's what it is, huh?
Yeah. You buy the coffee beans and you grind them up as you need the coffee, real fresh. I'm going to get Fay one of them. Great gadgets.
Yeah, guess so.
You never tasted coffee that fresh, Joe. Whole different flavor.
Well, if you say so.
Yeah. Wait till I get Fay one. You'll be asked over for the first pot of coffee.
That's nice.
You got a match?
Yes, ma'am. Here.
It's about the burglary, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. A couple of questions we'd like to ask.
Go ahead.
We've got the report you gave the officers last night. Now, this list of stolen property, I wonder if you'd look at it and see if it's right. Here you are.
Diamond watch. Yeah. The mink. Yeah, that's it. It's the mink that's important. Took me 3 years working to get that. Sure hope you bring it back.
Yes, ma'am. We'll try. Have you got any ideas as to what time the theft might have occurred?
Well, near as I can figure, it must have been around midnight.
Why do you say that?
Well, I got home from work about 11:30. I'm a hostess in a restaurant downtown.
Go on, please.
Got home, the coat was still here. I hardly ever come into the house without checking on it. You know, it's the only real thing of value I got.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there it was, hanging in the closet. I went out to have a cup of coffee and pick up the papers before I went to bed. Whoever took it must have been waiting outside. He saw me leave and then came in.
Why do you say he? Well, you said he must have been waiting.
Oh, I didn't mean anything special, you know, just a word.
I see. Did you see anybody in the vicinity when you left the house?
No, not that I can tell about now. The corner's a pretty busy place, Sergeant. Lots of people around there. A couple of restaurants. Always a lot of people around.
I wonder if we could see how they got in, please.
Yeah, right back here. Here, you see, they cut the screen on the porch door and then just reached in and opened it.
Top half of the door. You had it like this, did you?
Yeah, you see, you just flip these two little things and the glass part of the door comes out. Always take it out on warm nights.
Anything else in the apartment disturbed?
Not that I could tell. Seems that they just went into the bedroom and took the coat. That and the watch and the other stuff, but it's the coat that's important.
Yes, I understand.
A mink coat means something special to a girl. I told you it took me 3 years of saving before I could buy it. It's a long time to do without things, Sergeant. An awful long time.
Yes, ma'am.
I only had the coat 3 days, and this happened. Just 3 days. Hardly even had a chance to wear it.
Is the coat insured?
I think so.
Ma'am?
Well, I just got it. I think it's insured. I have to check with the salesman. I told him I wanted the coat covered. Boy, I just hope it's in effect. Beautiful coat. Just beautiful. Silver blue. Cost me almost $4,000. Come right down to it, that's about $1,000 a day.
We have the serial number here for the watch. Now, is there any way you could identify the coat for us?
Certainly. All I have to do is look at it. I can tell.
Well, yes, ma'am. But is there any mark, any type of label that would help us in identifying?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Well, there's a store label. You could tell by that.
Oh, that's probably one of the first things the thieves will take off.
Well, I suppose so. Well, there's my initials. They can't get those out.
Ma'am?
I got my initials on some of the pelts. Had it done when I got the coat. Had it marked right on the skins under the lining. My initials, J.A. You could be able to tell from that.
Could you draw the initials for us?
Yeah, wait a minute. I'll get a piece of paper.
Now, here, Miss Anderson. You can use this.
Oh, thanks.
His pencil.
Okay. Well, you see, it's sort of like this. J.A. Like that.
Mm-hmm. Would you draw the coat and show us where the initials are?
Sure. You see, here's the sleeves. Then the body part comes down like this.
Mm-hmm.
The hem's here, and the initials are right there.
Mm-hmm. All right, Miss Anderson. This is exactly how the initials are.
Oh, there goes a coffee. Can I give you a cup?
No, thanks. No,
thanks, ma'am.
Well, excuse me a minute, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
You really think you're going to get it back?
Well, we're going to try.
Did the men who were here last night get any clues?
Beg your pardon?
The men who were here last night, did they find anything that'd help?
Not a great deal, no, ma'am.
Well, I sure hope they find my coat. I just hate to think about it.
What's that, ma'am?
All that time. 3 years working to save for a coat. Then just to have it 3 days. You know how the models in the magazines kind of drag a mink coat along the ground? You know, sort of over their shoulders?
Yes, ma'am, I guess so.
Well, I just had it 3 days, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't even learn how to do that.
Reports of similar burglaries had been coming into the office for the past 6 weeks. In each one, the method of operation was similar enough to let us know that we were dealing with the same thieves. All of the homes that were prowled were residences. The owners of the houses were always absent. Entrance to the places was made through a rear window. In those cases where the window was open, the screen was cut. Where the window was locked, the pane of glass was broken, and the entrance made that way. The classification of goods stolen was also the same in all of the burglaries. Pieces of jewelry, whatever money was found, and fur coats. The only room prowled was the one where the fur coats were kept. None of the valuables in the rest of the house would be touched. Bulletins had been gotten out to all of the pawn shops in the area on the stolen pieces, but there'd been no replies. The MO had been checked by the stats office, and the possibles that they came up with were checked out. We failed to come up with a suspect. The investigation of the crime lab on the scene had produced no tangible evidence. Frank and I had gone over the burglary reports time and time again, trying to find something that would tie the thefts together. None of the victims were acquainted with each other. They all lived in different parts of the city. The coats were bought from different retailers, and yet within a week of the time the coat was purchased, it would be stolen. Friends of the victims were checked. In most instances, we found that they didn't even know the victim had been in possession of the article stolen. On the night of May 6th, another burglary was reported. Among the stolen articles were a mink stole and a full-length natural mink coat. The coat had been purchased only 3 days before the theft. The victim had worn it in public only twice. After going over the physical evidence at the scene and talking with the woman, we were no further than we had been. Saturday, May 11th, Frank and I checked into the office.
Another one that doesn't go anyplace.
Yeah, you want to get the reports out?
Yeah. You know, Joe, there's got to be something to tie them all together, something in common.
Well, if we come up with that, maybe we got the answer.
You see the bunch down by Chief Brown's office when we came in?
Yeah?
I recognize one of them.
Yeah, who?
Insurance man. They'll most likely be down here when they get through talking to Chief Brown.
What's it figure the thefts have cost him?
A little under $47,000.
Well, you stand that kind of loss, you'd do some yelling, too, wouldn't you?
Suppose. Funny none of the stuff's turned up.
Well, it isn't doing them any good unless they sell it. I get it. Burglary Friday. Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. What's your name? What? Oh, where are you now? Mm-hmm. All right. No, we'll be right over. Right. Well, maybe we got one.
Yeah?
Woman says she wants to talk to us about a stolen fur coat. The woman gave the name of Wilda Chandler. She said that she had some information for us and asked us to meet her in a bar at the corner of St. Andrew's Place and Las Palmas Avenue. It took us 23 minutes to get there.
See her?
No, we'd better ask the bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Is there a Miss Chandler here?
Chandler?
That's right. She just called. Said to meet her here.
Might be her in the back booth. Didn't give no name. Back booth.
Thank you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
If it's her or your friend, will you do me a favor?
What's that?
Try to get her out of here.
What do you mean?
Get her out of here. All she's been doing is sitting back there playing that song. Playing the song, ordering doubles. We ain't got a girl in here this time of the morning. I gotta carry the orders back to her. Got a lot of other stuff to do.
All right, we'll see about it.
Well, if you can't get her out, at least talk her into sitting up here at the bar so I don't have to walk, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Miss Chandler?
Sit right down, boys. Been expecting you.
This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
You just betcha. Glad to meet both of you. Talked to you on the phone, didn't I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, never forget a name. How about a drink for you two boys?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Should have a couple. Seems to make everything a lot better. I may have several more.
You said something about some information on some stolen fur coats, is that right?
Yeah, and I got it. Oh, Max, he's gonna be sorry.
Old Max?
Hear that on the jukebox? Melancholy mood. Hear it?
Yes, ma'am.
Our song.
That right.
You just betcha. Old Max, our song. Partner that goes, gone is every joy and inspiration. Tears are all I have to show. No consolation. So old Max left me. Tears in his fur coat.
Uh-huh. Who's Max?
You fellas sure you don't want a drink?
No, ma'am.
Oh, Max, just the tears in the coat. See? This is it. What do you think of it?
Very pretty.
That's a lie. It's a lousy coat and you know it.
You want to tell us about the stolen coat, please?
Yeah, I've been working for Max almost 2 months and I just found out. Guess you think that's pretty dumb, huh?
Well, maybe if you'd tell us about it.
2 months. Matter of fact, I just got the message last night, Friday, May 10th, 1:22 a.m. if you want to be exact. That's when I got the message about old Max.
Now, look, miss, you called us and said that you had some information on some coats. Now, I wonder if you'd be kind enough to tell us about
You
it.
just betcha. Could you put this in the jukebox for me? Play number B7. Huh?
Yes, ma'am. B7, huh?
Yeah, melancholy mood. Old Max and my song. You know what? He's a no good. A real no good.
This Max, has he got something to do with the burglaries?
You just betcha. Old slick Max, he's a pistol.
Yeah.
Say, how about a drink?
No, thank you.
I didn't mean for you, for me.
Suppose you tell us about Max and the furs, would you, please?
If that's the way you want it. Max is a thief.
That's right.
Oh, you know him?
I don't know.
Thief. Worked for him 2 months, even thinking about marrying him. All the time he's a thief.
What's Max's last name?
Barrett. Thanks for playing the song. It's real nice.
That's B7.
What about this Max?
Told me how I was going to wear mink, and this is what I end up with.
Now, look, Miss Chandler, if you have some information for us, we want to hear it, but we haven't got time to sit here and keep you company.
You think it's all a gag, huh? You just think I'm lonely, so I called you. That's what you think, isn't it?
Why don't you tell us?
Well, it isn't a gag. I can tell you all about the coats, all about them.
Yes, ma'am, that's why we're here. Would you go ahead?
Well, I'm a hat checker on a restaurant out in the country. It's a good racket. Got the job about 3 months ago. Doing real well at it. Then I meet this Max 2 months ago. Old Max walks in.
Yes, ma'am.
Gives me the big pitch. How he thinks I'm so pretty, all that kind of stuff, you know?
Go ahead.
Well, he really piles it on. How he's got a big deal cooking, and as soon as it comes through, him and me's going to get married. Tells me that while he's waiting for the deal to gel, he's selling insurance. Old Max selling insurance. Pretty funny, huh? Well, he tells me that the hardest thing about selling insurance is the contacts. You know, getting to meet the people who need it. Contacts.
Yeah.
And that's where I come in. You see, old Max, he doesn't sell insurance on people, not like on their lives. He doesn't sell that kind.
Mm-hmm.
He sells what they call personal property insurance on things like rings and coats, stuff like that. You with me?
Yes, ma'am, so far. Go ahead.
Well, he tells me that if I'll help him with his contacts, he'll cut me in on his percentage. Says all I have to do is tell him when some woman comes in with a new coat, her name and address, and he'll go see her and make the sale. It's me simple. All I got to do is get the names and addresses.
Did you do it?
Sure. How dumb can you get? I gave him the names and addresses. I know there was anything wrong.
Can you tell us what names you gave him?
I got every one of them. Got them at home. You can have them.
When'd you find out he wasn't an insurance salesman?
Last night, 1:22 a.m. I wasn't feeling so good, so I took off from work. Went by his place. Old Max is just coming in. Got the car parked out by his garage. Backseat is loaded with fur coats, all kind of other stuff. Watches, jewelry. That's when I knew he was a no good. Oh, Max, a pistol. A real no good.
Yes, ma'am. What happened?
Well, I asked him about the stuff, where he got it.
Yeah?
He told me all about it. How he'd been stealing. How all the names I'd been giving him were his sucker list. How as soon as I'd give him the information, he'd lift the stuff. All that time. 2 months, and I figured he was an insurance salesman.
You know what he's doing with the coats?
What?
Well, is he selling them?
Sure. He's got a regular order business. You call up and order a blue mink coat. If you want a platinum stole, just call Max. You'll have it.
Is he disposing of it here in L.A.?
Not old Max. He's too smart for that. Ships the stuff east.
Is that right?
Didn't I just tell you it was? You just betcha. Max gets an order, and he goes out and he fills it. Then he gets a hold of some young kid and offers him a trip to the east. Maybe Chicago, Detroit, New York. Wherever the delivery's supposed to be made. Gives the kid a plane ticket and sends him on the way.
The carrier know what he's doing?
Oh, no. Max just gives him the suitcase and tells him where to deliver it.
How'd you find out about the operation setup?
Old Max, he told me. Said that since I found out, he'd have to cut me in. Give me all the scoop.
Barrett ever been arrested?
I don't know, maybe.
Any close friends in town, do you know?
I guess. Never saw none of them myself.
You want to show us where he lives?
Sure. I want to see him get his. After the way he lied, ain't nothing too bad for him. Oh, Max, a pistol.
He sell all the stolen goods?
What do you mean?
Well, do you know where the stolen coats are and the rest of the things?
Must be in his apartment. Can't think of any other place it'd be. Gotta be there.
Do you know if he's there now?
He should be. He don't ever get up before noon. Should be there. I just want to see you get him. Lousiest trick in the world what he did to me.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, that time him stealing those coats. Oh, that beautiful mink. Look at this.
Yes, ma'am. That's a very pretty coat.
I thought so, too. Take a close look. Old Max gave it to me to show he was on the level. Take a good look.
Yeah?
All that mink, and he gives me rabbit.
Before we left the bar, we put in a call to R&I asking if Max Barrett had a police record. The office told us that there was none in our files. We asked that a teletype be sent to George Brereton at the CII office up in Sacramento. We also had the name Wilda Chandler checked. She had no record in Los Angeles. 11:20 a.m. We got Barrett's address from the Chandler woman, and then we called a radio car. The officers took her to the city hall where she could make a full statement. Frank and I drove over to Barrett's apartment. Wilda Chandler had told us that the suspect drove a late model Pontiac sedan. We found the car parked in the garage in the rear of Barrett's address. A preliminary search of the garage and of the car failed to turn up any evidence of the thefts. 11:46 a.m. Frank and I went up to see Barrett.
I'll get it.
Probably still asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it?
Like to see you.
Just a minute. Yeah?
You Max Barrett?
Yeah, who are you guys? What do you want?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Get out.
Hold it, mister. All right, now come on your feet, Barrett.
What's this all about, anyway? What are you guys doing breaking in here like this?
You want to check the closets, Frank?
Right.
You got no right to come in here and do this. What are you looking for? I got nothing to hide.
You didn't act that way when we came in, did you?
How'd I know you were real cops? You read all the time in the papers how guys say they're cops and then break in and rob people. That's what I thought you were. Only cops.
We showed you our identification, didn't we?
Well, how'd I know it was real? You've never been mixed up with the law before. How'd I know you were really cops?
How about it?
Place is clean.
Sure, it's clean. What'd you expect to find?
All right, come on, get dressed. We're taking you downtown.
For what?
We want to talk to you.
Any talking you got to do it here. I'm not going any place with you.
You just keep believing that, mister. Now get your clothes on. Come
What
on.
are you arresting me for?
Suspicion of burglary.
Are you serious?
Get dressed.
Okay, you take me in, book me. But you're going to be in real trouble, cop, because there's one big problem.
Yeah?
You can't prove it.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
There are good reasons why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Why Chesterfield is the largest selling two-way cigarette in America. Why Chesterfield is best for me and best for you. People these days want facts. When you want people to use your product, you have to tell them what effect it has on people who do use it regularly. That's why a doctor has examined for almost 2 years a large group of Chesterfield smokers. 45% of them have, on the average, been smoking Chesterfields for well over 10 years. What is the effect on these people from smoking Chesterfield? No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses, says the doctor. Consider Chesterfield's record with these smokers, with millions of other smokers throughout America. Another good reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Regular or king size, Chesterfield is best for me, best for you.
12:10 p.m. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout on Barrett's apartment in the event any of his associates contacted him. We asked his landlady about his friends. She told us that as far as she knew, the suspect was an insurance salesman. She said that he told her that because of his type of business, it would be necessary for him to keep late hours and that he didn't want to be disturbed during the day. We searched his apartment and his garage, but we were unable to turn up any of the stolen merchandise. We took him down to the city hall and got off all station radiograms with special attention to the police departments in Chicago, Detroit, and New York, giving them descriptions of the suspect and of the stolen property. We asked that their pawn shop details check the outlets in their cities. 3:15 p.m. We had Barrett brought to the city hall, and we talked to him in the squad room.
Okay, you made the boo-boo. Now, how are you going to get out of it?
What do you mean?
Well, you've had the chance to check my record. You know I'm clean. How are you going to get out having me sue you?
You got a job?
Yeah.
Where do you work?
I'm an insurance salesman.
What's the name of your company?
What do you want that for?
We want to talk to him.
I don't want you calling them. They find out I'm down here. Before I get a chance to tell them about it, I'll lose my job.
You kind of got this thing a little mixed up, haven't you?
What do you mean?
You've been trying to sell us how innocent you are all morning. Yet every time we ask a question, you give us a smart answer. Now, if you haven't got anything to hide, why don't you come off it and tell us the truth for a change?
I'm doing that.
When?
What company you work for?
I'm not going to tell you.
This rate book we found in your car. This the one? Great Southwestern Life, that it?
Why don't you call them and find out?
We did. They say they never heard of you.
Then it isn't them, is it?
What are you doing with the rate book?
That illegal, too?
Where'd you get it?
Friend of mine. I like to check the prices of other companies, keep abreast of things.
What's the friend's name?
You know I'm not going to give you that. Hey, who put you on to me anyway?
You said it yourself. We're not going to tell you.
Then it was that Wilda broad.
Who?
Who's playing cozy now? Wilda Chandler. She's the one who told you to pick me up, isn't she?
She have a reason to do that?
She might think so.
Why don't you tell us about it?
I tried to help her out, give her the chance to earn some extra money. Told her I'd give her $5 for every prospect she turned over to me who bought some insurance, and it worked good for a while. Then she started boozing it up. Got to be a real lush. Couldn't trust her anymore. She was giving me a list of bad names, making them up. I had to get rid of her.
Yeah?
Gave her a coat and called it quits.
How about these names she gave you? You got a copy of them?
No. Turned out they weren't any good, so I threw them away.
Frank?
Yeah.
You get that list?
Yeah, here you go.
Listen to these. See if they sound like the people Wilda told you about. Pauline Bunnell, Myrtle Briggs, Mrs. Mildred Carlson, Miss Jane Anderson, Alice Beckworth. How about it? You recognize any of them?
She's the one, isn't she? Lousy lush. She's the one who told you, isn't she?
Recognize the names?
Yeah.
Every one of those people have had a burglary in their house in the last month. There's a lot more names. Why don't you cop out and tell us the truth?
I got nothing to say until I see a lawyer.
Joe, see you a minute?
Yeah, Olson, right away. What do you got?
Kid says his name's Jim Nelson. Picked him up out at Barrett's place.
Anything on him?
Suitcase. Here it is. A couple of fur coats inside of him.
What about Nelson?
Checked him. Got a record listing 2 burglary arrests, 1 conviction.
Where's he now?
Got him over in an interrogation room.
Who's with him?
Rubles.
Any trouble?
No. Walked in and we took him. Says he wants to see Barrett. Thought maybe you'd want to talk to him first.
Yeah, I do. I'll be right back, Frank.
Okay.
Let's go.
Anything on the coats?
Haven't had a chance to check him yet. Brought the Nelson kid right in.
Anybody out at Barrett's now?
Yeah, we called the team before we left.
Okay, thanks. I'll call you.
Right.
Hi, Rubles. Thanks.
All right. Olson, I'll be down the hall if you need anything, Joe.
Right, thank you. Your name Nelson, is that right?
Yeah.
Where'd you get the suitcase?
Barrett gave it to me.
When?
A couple of days ago. I was supposed to take it to Detroit.
What happened?
I didn't make it. Got to thinking about how he was willing to pay my expenses back there just to take the suitcase. Got to wondering what was so important. Opened the suitcase, and when I saw what was in it, I didn't want any part of it. Tried to give it back to him. Cops picked me up.
Mm-hmm. You know where he got the coats?
No, and I don't want to. Anytime a guy's willing to pay expenses back east just to deliver a suitcase, there's something phony about it. I want no part of the action. You know I got a record. I only stood 1 conviction. I'm trying to keep clean. You got Barrett here now?
That's right.
You gonna hold him?
Yeah.
I'd like to see him for a minute.
Why?
I'd like to tell him what I thought about the deal he tried to pull. Telling me how he was my friend. All the time getting me to carry the stuff for him. Can you fix it up so I can see him?
Yeah, come on.
You gonna be able to nail him?
We will now.
Imagine a guy would pull a stunt like that on his friends. A guy'd do that to about anything.
Yeah. You willing to testify about how Barrett gave you the suitcase?
I sure am. I want to see him nailed good.
Barrett?
Yeah?
Turn around here. A friend of yours wants to see you.
What are you doing here?
Thought I'd be in Detroit by now, didn't you, Max?
Just keep your mouth shut. They got nothing on us.
Watch him while I get the suitcase, Frank.
Yeah.
How about it? You ever see this bag before, Barrett?
He should. He gave it to me.
Beautiful coat here. Let's take a look at the lining, shall we?
I don't know anything about those. A guy sold them to me. I don't know where they came from.
How about it?
It's right there, initials, J.A. You want to tell us now, Barrett? Barrett?
Lousy kid. I should have known better than
All right,
trust
enough
you.
of that.
Come on, let him go. Let him go. Bust his nuts.
Sit down, both of you. Sit down, Barrett.
Punk kid. Going good until he stuck his nose into it. All going good. How lousy can a deal get?
Well, I wouldn't worry about it.
What?
You're going to find out.
The story
you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 18th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, going into the new year, there are a couple of things that we sincerely hope you'll do. One, continue to listen to Dragnet. We're going to do our best to make it the kind of a program that you want. And two, if you're not already smoking Chesterfields, try them. And, of course, all of us on Dragnet wish you a happy and prosperous new year.
Max Rudolph Barrett was tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree, 4 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years. His associates in the burglary ring were tried and convicted of receiving stolen property, which is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not more than 10 years. Because of the cooperation she gave authorities in apprehending the suspects, Wilda Noreen Chandler was released from custody.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the Dragnet Christmas story, it's available in RCA Victor record albums.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Carolyn Jones, Vic Perrin, Lillian Baia. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork tip Fatima? It's the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering. And Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima, with tips of perfect cork, is made and guaranteed by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company.
Hear John Cameron Swayze in the news next on the NBC Radio Network.
December 29th, 1953, Dragnet here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now, some of the headlines of that Tuesday, which is what December 29th, 1953 was, include President Eisenhower calling on Democrat leaders for the first time in direct consultation on his 1954 legislative goals, setting a January 5th date for bipartisan talks on foreign policy and national defense. Democrat leaders agreed yesterday that the invitation to the White House conference was a nice gesture, but they expressed doubt that they'll be given a voice in shaping administration programs. Soviet Ambassador Jacob Malik disclosed to have left for Moscow soon after conferring with Prime Minister Winston Churchill and Foreign Secretary Anthony Eden in London, informed quarters suggesting that Malik's flight home was linked with the swiftly developing plans for the Big Four Conference of Foreign Ministers in Berlin, while communist columns speared southward under bruising French air attacks from the Red Belt across the waistline of Indochina, while French reinforcements poured northward by round-the-clock airlift to block their path. Some of the first words that Americans were learning of Saigon and Vietnam. And flames less than a half-mile away crept up steep wooded slopes toward the famed Mount Wilson Observatory in the $4 million television transmitter area as Southern California's worst forest fire of 1953 crackled out of control. Those some of the headlines from the newspapers of Tuesday, December 29, 1953. We just heard Dragnet from that evening, and now we're going to hear another show in a moment from that same date, and that was starring Frank Sinatra in his one and only ongoing leading dramatic program on radio, Rocky Fortune. We'll hear about the prize fight fix coming up next. But first, we have these important messages on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
In case of enemy attack or grave national emergency, keep listening to your radio. The emergency broadcast system will immediately bring you official information and instructions. Stations will not give call letters, but will identify the area they're serving. So dial around till you find the right one in your area, and then follow the instructions given.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues now with an episode of Rocky Fortune starring Frank Sinatra. The number, I think, is like 30 episodes of this show are all that were done. From 70 years ago, December 29, 1953, the prize fight fix.
Frank Sinatra, transcribed as Rocky Fortune. NBC presents Frank Sinatra, starring as that footloose and fancy-free young gentleman, Rocky Fortune.
You ever notice how some guys go through life and nothing ever happens? Not even a ticket for speeding? Another guy, every time he orders a bowl of chowder, he finds a live octopus in it. Well, that's the story of my life. You take last week, I was sitting in a one-armed joint drinking black coffee and reading the Wan ads when I noticed a couple of ape-like characters giving me the double O. After a while, they leave their table and come over to mine.
Well, if it ain't my old pal, Gondolfo.
I beg your pardon?
Come on, Gondolfo. Don't give me the no capiche routine. Mitchell's been looking all over for you. You shouldn't have took off from the hotel room this morning without telling anybody.
Look, Buster.
The name is Stanley, remember?
Okay, Stanley, let's get something straight. My name ain't Gondolfo. I never laid an eyeball on you in all my life, and I like to eat alone. You got it?
Sure, Gondolfo. Come on. We'll go back to the hotel and see Mitchell.
Lover boy, I just finished telling you...
I don't want to have to get tough, Gondolfo, on account of I wouldn't want to cripple you before the fight tonight. So let's go quiet.
For the last time, beat it. You bother me.
Okay, Gondolfo. Now, just so we understand each other, this what you feel pressed up against your side ain't a briar pipe. You follow me?
I follow you.
Good. Follow me. And don't try nothing funny or I'll be forced to take drastic action, which might cause leakage in your radiator and valves. Okay?
Okay. Stanley is about 8 feet tall with hands like dredges. Also, he's carrying a small-sized railway gun on his hip, which is right next to my head. So I go. We take a taxi to a cheap downtown hotel, and Stanley escorts me to a room on the second floor.
Okay, this is it.
Look, if you're going to roll me, pal, you're in for a big disappointment. Shake me upside down, all you find's a key.
Candle lip dribble.
Come in. Hello, Stanley.
Boss, look who. I found him.
Come in. Shut the door.
I'm sitting in a restaurant, see, and I look up, and bingo. Right at the next table is our wandering boy, the Great Gondolfo.
Sit down.
Look, mister.
I said sit down.
Thanks.
I can see how you made the mistake, Stanley.
What mistake?
Thinking this punk was Gondolfo.
What do you mean?
What's your name, punk?
Rocky Fortune, punk. What's yours?
Don't get fresh.
Should I hit him?
Take it easy, Stanley.
Boss, he's lying. This is Gondolfo, I tell you.
Shut up, Stanley. You have to forgive Stanley. He used to be a wrestler. He got dropped in his head a couple of times too often.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about as long as I'm here?
Not at all. You ever heard of Luis Gondolfo?
Yeah, he's a fighter, ain't he? Some bum from Argentina or Brazil?
He's a fighter, and he's also a bum, but he happens to be from Bolivia.
Yeah, I read about him.
I'm his manager, Mike Mitchell.
I can't say it's a pleasure.
Stanley here helps handle him.
Who handles Stanley, a zookeeper?
Boss, could I hit him like once, maybe?
Luis Gondolfo is scheduled to meet Kid Cool in the garden tonight. The winner gets a crack at the bantamweight champ.
According to the sports hawks, your boy has about as much chance as a snowball in Havana.
Less than that, Rocky. The odds are 6-1 that Kid Cool knocks him out, and we're betting against him.
Yeah, sounds like you got the tank all rigged up.
We had it all rigged up, but Gondolfo got cold feet and skipped, which leaves us holding the bag.
What's in the bag, Mr. Mitchell?
$600,000.
Oh, wow.
We invest 600 G's and we make 100 G's profit.
No fighter, no fight. No fight, all bets off, right?
Exactly. Only we got a fighter.
Yeah, who?
You.
Boss.
Shut up, Stanley. You're a dead ringer for our boy Gondolfo, Mr. Fortune. All you have to do is step in the ring for 2 rounds, let Kid Cool paste you, and down you go.
Well, it's been nice talking to you fellas. Any other time that you need somebody to stand up under a falling blackjack or lay down in front of a freight train, get in touch with me. Tonight I'm busy. I gotta go, really.
He said, hold it.
You're not going anyplace, Mr. Fortune. You're going to step in that ring tonight like you were the great Gondolfo himself.
If I don't?
If you don't, Stanley here's going to fillet you. 1 bone at a time. You understand?
I begin to get the picture. One minute I'm drinking coffee in a joint. The next I'm a candidate for a bruise at the garden. I settle down in the hotel room to wait for developments, which begin to develop rapidly.
Who is it?
Press!
Just a sec. Okay, Gondolfo. Now you're going to let the reporters see you.
What do I say, goo-goo?
Gondolfo, don't talk very good English. Just say, see.
Okay.
Let him in, goofball.
Right.
Well, if it ain't the South American Boxing Association. How's the boy, Mike?
A tiger. He's ready to murder that Kid Cool. Right, Gondolfo?
See?
You don't look in such good shape.
He's deceptive. Right, Dolph?
See?
Look, Johnny, give him a good write-up, huh? He's 6-1 to lose. He needs encouragement. Right now, he needs rest.
Okay, I'll give him a plug in Espanol. Okay, Mike. See you.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. More? Open it.
Luis, querido mío. Oh, let me kiss you, baby.
Yeah, why not?
Baby, why you don't call me?
He's been training, Loopy. Come on now, beat it. You can see him after the fight.
Good luck, Louis. Kiss me.
See? Honey, I'm not Luis. I'm Rocky Fortune, 52 Bleakman Street. Get the cops. Buenos dias, Pumpkin.
Buenos dias, querido. Buenos dias, Mike.
Sure. See you after the fight, honey.
Nice girl. Mine?
Uh-huh.
What do I call her?
Loopy Monsoon. She's a chorus girl at the Latin segment. Nuts about you. Too bad you tried to tip her off, though.
Me?
Yeah, I saw you whisper to her, Rocky. Stanley.
Yeah, boss.
Go after her. Stick with her, and if she does anything suspicious, like calling the cops, stop her.
Sure, boss.
Oh, Stanley.
Yeah, boss.
Before you go, say goodbye to Gondolfo here. Show him we mean business.
A pleasure, boss. Buenos dias, punk.
That night, I am hustled over to the garden with Mike Mitchell's automatic nuzzling my ribs. I dress, weigh in, and have the gloves put on by Stanley, who was returned from tailing Loopy Monsoon. Finally, the warning buzzer sounds, and I am escorted into the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, now the main event of the evening. In this corner, the spectacular bantamweight from Brooklyn, USA, the fighting gamecock, Kid Cool. Over here, a newcomer to American boxing circles, direct from the pampas of Bolivia, the Bolivian Jaguar, Luis Gondolfo.
Okay, now remember, Rocky. You put it around for 1 round, and at the end of the 2nd round, you dive. It's all set. Kid Cool's going to give you the signal so you can make it look good.
I don't think I can stand up for 1 round.
You do like we say. If you don't, you get killed. Simple?
Too simple.
Okay, now get in there. And remember, we're right behind you.
The bell rings, and I'm on my bicycle trying to keep away from Kid Cool, who's after me like I was the mechanical rabbit at the dog races. I managed to outleg him for the first couple of minutes, but as the bell rings, he tags me with a right that makes me see double. I stagger into my corner and flop.
Nice footwork, Rocky. You're practicing for the Olympic sprints or something? The fans are screaming for blood.
Yeah,
Let him tag you a couple of times to make it look good. He'll tell you when to flop.
He won't need to tell me. I'm ready to flop now. In the opposite corner, I see Kid Cool eyeing me like I'm for sale, cheap. He takes a swig of his water bottle and comes out of his corner with murder written all over him. I stagger out and manage to grab him for a clinch.
Come on, break up the clinch. This ain't no dance marathon.
Let me hit you a couple of times, kid, just so I don't get an inferiority complex.
Okay, but when I wink, wait for my swing and go down. Got it?
Right.
Break.
Sure. Here, big boy, try this one.
Get to a neutral corner, Gondolfo. 1, 2, 3.
Get up, kid. Get up.
4.
I never laid a glove on him, so help me.
5, 6, 7.
Come on, kid. I didn't mean it.
8.
Honest, get up, boy.
9, 10. The winner by a knockout, Gondolfo.
Kid Cool is still laid out like a dress suit when I stagger back to my corner. Stanley helps me into my bathrobe while he's murmuring plans for my total destruction in the one ear. I decided it's time for me to vacate the premises.
Let's go, punk.
Take him to the locker room, Stanley, and finish him
Now,
off.
listen, I never touched that guy, honest. He just folded up on me.
$600,000 down the drain. You're gonna sweat for this fortune.
Yeah, before I sweat Mitchell, you gotta catch me.
Grab him. Hey, look out.
Look out, lady, I gotta catch a plane. I bust away from Stanley's hot little paws and squirm through the crowd to the exit. I am probably the only fighter in history to win a fight and break an Olympic sprint mark at the same night. Luckily, there's a cab outside the garden. I jump in and give him the go-go. Step on it, Uncle. 52 Bleakman Street.
Gee, must have been giving you an awful beating to make you run out of the garden like that.
And the commentary. Let's move.
Okay, hang on. You mind if I ask you what happened in there?
I won.
If you won, I'd hate to see the other guy.
That's clever. I tell the hacky to wait outside my flat while I go up for some money and a change of clothes. The place is dark when I get there, and even before I turn the light on, I can smell the perfume. Good evening.
Buenas noches.
Yeah. Buenas noches yourself and a happy besame mucho.
I was so worried about you.
Didn't you understand the message I whispered in your ear?
Of course, but it's Stanley. He followed me all day until it is too late. I remember your address, and I come up here to tell you.
Is that all?
No. I want to know if you know where Luis is.
Oh. Mitchell told me he flew the coop. That's all I know.
I have not seen him for 3 days now.
He's probably on a fast plane to Bolivia, which is where I should be if I want to live to be 34.
The gamblers have taken a big beating, no?
They have taken a big beating. See.
It's too bad they all pay off before they find out Kid Cool was poisoned.
Who cares if they didn't... What?
You have not heard? Kid Cool was poisoned. They find the stuff in his water bottle.
Is he dead?
No, just very sick. Meanwhile, the gamblers have paid off many bets.
I thought there was something phony about that nosedive he took. Any ideas about who did it?
No. Whoever it was must have collected a nice hunk of change, as you say.
Yeah, it was somebody who knew Luis was slated to take a dive and figured to pull a fast one on the gambling boys.
Maybe Mike Mitchell do this himself.
Maybe anybody. You, Gondolfo, Stanley, even me. Look, baby, it won't take Mitchell long to locate this place. I got to get dressed and blow. I'll see you some other time.
I give you goodbye kiss.
Yeah. Baby,
Yes.
one favor.
Yes.
Help me get the boxing gloves off, huh? It occurs to me that Lupe Monsoon is pretty free with a lipstick, but who am I to complain? I hustle her out in about an hour and start packing for a quick trip to Tibet. There's a knock on the door, and my knees take it from there. Hold it. Okay.
Greetings.
Well, if it ain't my old pal, Sergeant Hamilton J. Finger of the Gestapo. Come in, Sarge. I'm glad to see you.
I'll bet.
What brings you?
I'm not sure, but I think it was a phone tip to headquarters. If this is another practical joke, Rocky, I'm going to have you stuffed and roasted, so help me.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
A dame calls up headquarters and says there's a dead man at 52 Bleakman, apartment 2B. That's you.
A dead man? Maybe she meant me.
You don't know about this?
It sounds like a gag.
Yeah, darn it. Okay, Fortune, this is positively my last word on the subject. Any more trouble from you, and I'm resigning from the force.
Finger walks out, and I open the closet door to put on my other suit, the one with 2 sleeves. As I open the closet, a guy who looks exactly like me falls out on his face. It ain't me. It's Luis Gondolfo, the Bolivian jaguar. He ain't much of a jaguar because he's been speared in the neck till dead. I stuff him back in the closet and head uptown after a quick run through the phone book. I am in trouble, and I think I know who's responsible.
Rocky, darling.
Whoa, down, girl. Whoa, no more mush. Back up.
You don't like me no more?
All I want right now is information.
What about?
About Luis Gondolfo.
You have seen him?
No, baby, but you have.
What?
Listen, honey, there was a fresh corpse in my closet when you left the apartment, and I didn't put it there.
A corpse of whom?
Of Luis Gondolfo.
Madre de Dios.
Don't pretend you didn't know anything about it. You went right down and phoned the cops, figuring the whole thing would be pinned on me.
You're crazy. Well, why should I do such a thing?
You want to know? Because you were the one who cleaned out the bookmakers on the fight tonight. You poisoned Kid Cool's bottle and bet everything you had on me. And you collected, too. But Love Boy Gondolfo showed up and wanted his cut. So you lured him up to my apartment and slipped a hat pin into his jugular. Then you called the gendarmes figuring I'd take the rap. Is that right? Or am I dreaming?
Senor Rocky, you're crazy.
Maybe I am. You ain't the first one to tell me. But just to prove how crazy I am, do you mind if I take a look around this place?
Help yourself. Maybe if you tell me what you're looking for, I can save you the time.
I'm not sure, baby. It's either a roll of bills 600 grand deep or some poison.
If you look for money, I cannot help you. Poison I will be most happy to furnish.
Very funny. By the way, that big picture hat you were carrying in your hand in my apartment. I don't suppose you wear that with a hat pin, do you?
A hat pin?
Uh-huh. Let's see. This should be the hat closet. And this is the hat. And these are the holes for the hat pin. Where's the pin?
Pin? I think perhaps I have lost it.
Sure. You lost it in Gandolfo's throat, maybe.
I will not stand for this. Get out.
Where's the money, Lupe?
There is no money.
You want me to call the cops now, or are you going to level?
Oh, very well. How much do you want?
And you did slip the hat pin to Gandolfo.
He threatened me. You want the whole share.
That's what I thought.
How much do you want?
Let's see the stuff.
In the drawer of the desk over there.
Here?
No. The bottom drawer.
Uh-huh. This one's empty, baby.
So is your head, Senor Fortune.
Not only do I let her sap me, I even bend over so she can lay a brass candlestick right back of my ear where it'll do the most good. Always a gentleman, that's me. Sometime later, the purple merry-go-round comes to a halt, and I see a familiar, ugly puss bending over me. Oh.
Take it easy, dream boy.
Oh, my head.
Ain't he sweet, Loopy? Just like a sleeping baby.
Oh. How did you get here, knucklehead?
Now, I might have just dropped in by chance, or then again, Loopy might have called me on the electric telephone to help her get rid of what's left of you.
I begin to get the picture now. You two are in this together.
You are very clever, Senor Fortune. So clever, you nosed yourself right into a coffin.
Get her with the New York accent.
What do we do, baby?
Get rid of him. He knows too much. He guesses the rest.
How about I should drop him out the window, huh?
Don't be an idiot, Stanley. We got to get him away from the apartment.
Okay. I'll bump him here and we'll drop him off the palisade.
Okay, but just make it snappy.
Turn around, Fortune.
Can we talk this over?
I said turn around.
He says turn around, so I turned.
Hey, want it make a noise?
Yeah, this cannon's got a silencer.
Okay, get it over with.
So long, Fortune.
Don't move, either of you.
Mike.
I said don't move or you'll get what Stanley got.
Thanks for the rescue, Mitchell.
Don't thank me, Fortune. You may be next. So you and the numbskull thought you could double-cross me and get away with it, huh, Loopy? You should know better than that.
Mike, I swear I wasn't in on it. It was Stanley's idea.
Yeah, don't give me that, baby. I followed that meathead over here, and I was standing in the hall for 10 minutes listening to you two.
Mike, it wasn't my idea.
Stanley doesn't have the brains to figure out a scheme like that. Poisoning cool and then betting against the odds.
Fortune, it was his idea.
Oh, sure. It was my idea to have Stanley shoot me in the back of the head so I could look innocent, too.
Okay, Loopy. Where's the dough?
What, Mike?
The dough, the moolah. You were picking up bundles from every bookmaker in town after the fight, including me.
No, Mike, honest.
You're gonna play possum. Okay. Now, where's the dough?
Don't you know it ain't polite to hit a lady like Loopy with the palm of your hand? You should use your knuckles.
I'm not gonna play around much longer, Loopy. Where's the dough?
It's in the suitcase in the bedroom.
Shall we all take a little walk into the bedroom? Now, don't try anything. Let's go.
There.
Open it. You really cleaned up on that fight. Okay, close it and hand it over.
Okay, Mike.
Now, both of you, over the other side of the bed. Move.
Mike, what are you going to do?
You two characters are going to have a little lover's quarrel. Let's knock over a couple of lamps to make it look good. So when the cops find you both dead, they won't have to strain their imagination.
What about Stanley? How are you going to explain him?
Well, just make it a triangle. You see, I'm not going to have to do any explaining because by the time the authorities reach this place, I'm going to be on a plane for nowhere with a suitcase full of government certificates. Okay, Loopy, you first. So long, Chiseler.
Okay, hold it.
Oh, my arm.
It's only a scratch. You okay, Rocky?
Fine.
Get me a doctor. Can't you see I'm bleeding?
Yeah, sure.
Your timing was fine, Sarge, but how'd you locate us?
I went back to your apartment for a second look and found Gondolfo in the closet. I traced you through a hacky who was parked outside your flat.
Holy smokes, I forgot all about him.
Well, he remembered you. He took the number of the cab you left in.
Yeah, I guess I owe him a fat tip, huh?
As far as I know, he's downstairs, and his meter is still running.
I better get down there.
Now, just a minute.
Yeah?
If Gondolfo was dead in your flat, who fought at the garden tonight?
How should I know?
Gondolfo didn't have a mark on him.
He was a pretty tricky fighter.
How come you got a bruise on your cheek?
Me, Sarge? I ran into a door. Honest.
NBC has presented Frank Sinatra as that footloose and fancy-free young gentleman, Rocky Fortune. Others in tonight's cast included Jack Mather, Joe Forte, Jack Carroll, Maya Gregory, Maurice Hart, Barney Phillips. Tonight's script was written by George Lefferts. Andrew C. Love directed. And now, to tell you about next week's adventure, here's Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune.
Next week, I'll tell you about a job I wasn't hired for. I asked for this one because I wanted it. It took me from one end of the country to the other. Only I almost didn't make the other end. Rough? Brother, it was killing.
Remember, if you must travel at night, use the utmost caution. Most of all, slow down from your normal daytime driving speed. You may have the vision of an owl after dark, but your number may be up if you drive too fast. At all times, drive as though your life depends on it. It does. Visit with Fibber McGee and Molly tonight on the NBC Radio Network.
If you notice speed variations in that, so many of these shows were taken from, recorded on tape. And tape variations just went crazy, especially when they moved them to cassette tape. The speed of the tapes would vary dramatically, and that's some of what happens during some of these shows. I try to correct them as best I can, but when you get a drag at the front and a speed up at the end, it's really hard. 70 years ago, December 29, 1953, Rocky Fortune here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That theme music, and I've said this before, it's Roy Eldridge and I Remember Harlem. One of those songs that is not from a licensed library, but in fact was a regular released record. And you can find it on YouTube and other places. I Remember Harlem by Roy Eldridge. We remember Sidney Greenstreet, who will be with us next, The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, from 73 years ago, December 29th, 1950, and The Case of the Bashful Body. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, and we'll continue on this Friday following these words.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Joni James. After nuclear attack, radioactive fallout will be a potential threat to every living thing. You can't hear, or smell, or taste fallout. Often you can't see it, so you must take shelter and stay there until told it's safe to leave.
On Facebook, I published some numbers of the people who listen to our podcast, not only here in the United States, but around the world. And the numbers just continue to humble me as how many people still listen to this podcast. U.S., Canada, Japan, Mexico, India, Philippines, Ireland, Germany, Somalia, the Cayman Islands, and the U.K., wherever you're listening from, not only around the world, but in the U.S., California, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, New York, Florida, Minnesota, Colorado, Pennsylvania, Texas, Massachusetts, Missouri, Oregon, Maryland, Indiana. Wherever you listen to this podcast, I thank you, and I want you to know that I really very much am thankful and grateful and humbled because you still listen to us. Thank you. On tomorrow's show, on the Saturday show, we'll have Burns and Allen, Fibber McGee and Molly, Great Gildersleeve, the original Aldrich family going back to 1948, and of course, Lum and Abner. Many of our shows tomorrow will have New Year's Eve themes to them, so hope you will be listening. Now we go back to more crime drama. Sidney Greenstreet, starring as Nero Wolfe in The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe from 73 years ago, December 29, 1950, and The Case of the Bashful Body.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ringing of that phone bell means mystery, adventure.
Nero Wolfe's office, Archie Goodwin speaking. Who? Oh, I see. Oh, and you think Mr. Wolfe might be interested in going over and... Oh, hold on a minute.
Archie, I'm not interested in going anywhere. Ill-considered movement is the curse of our times. Not to mention the mania for fresh air. Phew. Bottle opener, if you please.
Here you are. But that was Zabro's flower shop, Mr. Wolfe.
Indeed.
Got a new shipment of orchids from upstate.
In that case...
Mr. Wolfe, remember the curse of our times? Not to mention the mania?
I'll be there.
You'll be there.
After all, a man must risk his life sometimes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the bulkiest, balkiest, smartest, and most unpredictable detective in the world. That chairborne genius, Nero Wolfe. Created by Rex Stout and brought to you in a new series of adventures over this NBC network in the person of Mr. Sidney Greenstreet.
Orchids don't grow up overnight. They have to be carefully planted, tended, watered, and watched. And the same thing goes for murder. Take Zabro's flower shop minutes after we got that phone call.
Zabro!
Oh, Mr. Hansen, I did not notice you are here.
I'm here, and what's more...
You like the way I display your orchids,
I don't like the way you've been avoiding meeting your obligation.
Please, it is better not to shout.
It'd be still better if you paid me what you owe me.
Mr. Hansen, business has not been so good. I will pay.
You'd better.
I intend to...
My lawyers aren't going to be satisfied by intentions.
Your lawyers?
I've no particular desire to own a flower shop, but it looks as if I'm going to, unless you raise some money.
Mr. Hansen, I have worked years. I have given of my blood to make a success of this establishment. You cannot take him from me. You are a rich man.
I intend to stay rich, too. You've got 24 hours, Zabro. A man can accomplish a lot in 24 hours.
Yes, Mr. Hansen. Even maybe murder.
Mr. Zabro?
Oh, good afternoon, Miss Hansen.
Is Uncle here?
Yes, he is here. At the display, towards the back of the store.
Thanks. How is he? Oh, I mean...
He is the way he always is. Hard, vindictive.
Mr. Zabro.
I am sorry. Excuse me now.
Uncle?
What is it, Enid?
Have you seen my display?
The lilies?
Uh-huh.
Yes, pretty.
Well, thank you.
He's not here.
Well, I didn't say...
He didn't have to. John Arndt is not here. Why he is not here, I don't know. His job was to look after my display. Perhaps he doesn't need a job anymore.
You know he does.
Fiddlesticks. After all, if he marries my heiress...
Uncle!
My dear girl, John Arndt is a fairly capable man with orchids. Outside of that, I have no use for him whatsoever, especially in the role of your husband.
Well, isn't that for me to decide?
Of course it is, except that, pretty as you are, John Arndt is seeing you through a golden haze. To be precise, the money that will come to you from me when I die.
That's nasty.
It's the truth.
Oh, you can't know that.
I'm going to find out.
What?
I saw my lawyers this morning. Among other things, I instructed them to draw up a codicil to my will. A codicil to the effect that all my money goes to you on one condition.
Oh, you couldn't.
I did. The condition was that you refrain from marrying John Arndt, either now or at any time in the future.
Well, that's not fair.
It's a very good way of discouraging Mr. Arndt. What'll you bet his ardor cools off quickly,
You told him?
Yes. Probably why he hasn't appeared as yet. He's sulky.
You really signed that codicil?
I will, as soon as the papers are drawn up. Where are you going?
I don't know. I've got to get away someplace and think.
Very well. Think about forgetting John Arndt. Best thing in the world for you.
Uncle, do you really think you can manage other people's lives for them?
I don't see why not.
No? Well, people don't like to be managed. They get desperate sometimes. And sometimes they kill.
Mr. Wolf, what are you doing?
Getting up. I'm up.
Well, that makes you eligible for the Explorers Club or something.
My coat and muffler, Archie.
I got him here.
Thank you.
You're really going out into that weather outside?
Archie, must you try to be witty?
It amuses me no end. Haven't you seen enough of those weeds yet?
An orchid is not a weed. Another muffler, Archie, the woolen one.
You've already got two on.
Please, fresh air clogs the lungs, Archie.
Sure, everybody knows that, but they won't admit it.
Of course not. The conspiracy of silence. Archie, I'm ready.
You sure? I can see a square inch of skin showing.
Come. You're driving me to Zabro's.
Mm-hmm. All right, careful. And take a deep breath. I'm going to open the door. You ready?
Yeah, very well. Open it.
Be brave, Mr. Wolf. We'll keep the car window shut, and maybe you'll make it. Careful.
The risks one takes.
In you go. Well, okay, boss. Now, where is Zabro's?
45th Street.
Gee, 10 blocks. Grit your teeth, Mr. Wolf. We're off.
Oh, Mr. Wolf, I'm glad you are here.
Those orchids you wrote me about had better be worth a trip.
The trip? But I think you live only a little way from here.
Don't forget it had to be made in the open air, Mr. Zabro.
Where are the orchids?
Towards the back. They are from Hansen's place. He is a fine grower. I have made an exhibit.
Good.
Oh, excuse me. Others are here. You go look for yourself, no?
Very well. Archie.
Oh, I was just noticing the...
Did a girl just enter the store?
A girl, a goddess, tall, graceful, Venus de Milo with arms. Arms that were made... Never mind, let's go look at orchids.
Thank you. Very fine.
The exhibit is laid out like nature, huh? Reminds me of a spot in Central Park that I spent some of my happiest moments in.
Then you do like flowers.
I don't go to Central Park to look at flowers. I went there to, forget it.
Gladly. Now go away and annoy someone else.
Venus?
I want to concentrate on these orchids. Goodbye.
Okay. I'll leave you alone with your loved ones. Let's see, maybe I can arrange to be left alone with something I could very easily learn to love. Hey, boss.
Don't bother me, Archie.
Oh, this is serious. There's a lily display just like this one over at the other end of the store.
Nothing connected with lilies could possibly be serious.
Maybe not, but there's a corpse planted among these lilies.
Indeed?
A lot of ferns were banked up in back of the display. I saw a foot sticking out, so I slipped back, lifted a few ferns, and found a body.
Fresh?
Very. The wound was still bleeding. Knife wound.
Sad, very. Now run along.
Oh, aren't you going to do anything about it?
Why should I? Anyone who'll permit himself to be found dead or alive among a display of lilies is beneath contempt.
Well, maybe the poor guy didn't have a chance to crawl into an orchid display before he died. However, if that's the way you feel, I'll tell the police all about poor Mr. Hansen and let them...
Who?
Hansen, the orchid grower.
He's one of the finest in the country.
Not is, was. Wasn't me who pushed him under the lilies.
Under lilies? Pah. He would have hated that. Have you told Zabro?
No. Zabro's been busy up front.
Where is this display?
Right along here.
There's been a number of people in the store since we came. Someone else may have noticed that dead man's foot.
I covered it.
Satisfactory. At times you give the illusions of intelligence. Is this the display?
Yep. Come around to the back. There's a little space between the back of the display and the wall. Yeah. Now here, right under this pile of ferns...
Yes, Archie?
Hey, that body.
What about it?
It got bashful. It's gone.
Indeed.
The corpse was dead.
Corpse is off now. Confound you, Archie. Have you been drinking too much milk again?
Now, look, boss, I saw him there. The blood's still coming out of his back, and I tell you that...
Let me understand you. Are you suggesting the corpse rose and walked away?
No, but somebody could have dragged it away. Somebody who put it here in the first place.
Pictures, no doubt. Come along, Archie. If this is some half-witted trick to distract me from the orchid...
Oh, no. I never come between a man and his love. Hey, wait a minute, Mr. Wolf.
Yes?
Do ferns bleed?
Let me see. Oh, indeed. Yes, there is blood. Fresh arterial blood on these ferns. Bright red color. Which means there was a wounded person among these lilies recently.
Thanks for the late vote of confidence.
Whoever killed Hansen apparently found a better place for him.
Took him home to put him over the mantelpiece.
Unlikely. Hansen wasn't very decorative.
Okay. Now, shall I yell for the police?
You have nothing to show them except a fern leaf covered with blood? No.
Don't tell me you smell a fee among all these flowers.
Hansen was a man I admired. Good heavens, Archie. The number of first-rate orchid growers is small enough without one of us being murdered.
Unsportsmanlike, huh? Okay, we won't stand for it. What next?
The body was removed from the building. How?
Well, I wouldn't swear to it, but there's a window here that leads out to an alleyway.
Could the alleyway be seen from the street?
I don't think so. There's a bend in it.
Wide enough for a car?
Yep.
Bring Zabro to me. Oh, don't bother. He's coming himself.
Well, Mr. Wolf, what do you think of the... Mr. Wolf, I do not believe this.
What don't you believe?
You are looking at lilies.
Not exactly. Whose flowers are these?
Mr. Hansen's niece grows lilies.
I see. Zabro, did you get all your orchids from Hansen?
Oh, yes. He is an artist.
Practically an old master at the moment. How much money did you owe him?
Who tell you I owe him?
You do, don't you?
Well, yes. Business has not been so good. But did he speak to you?
No, I guess you owed him money.
But I do not understand.
Was Hansen in the store today?
Yes, he came. You hear us quarrel, eh?
Where is he now?
I do not know. He leave, maybe.
I rather think he did. Zabro, who else was in the store within the last half hour who might have known Hansen?
Oh, Miss Hansen was here and John Aaron. He is Mr. Hansen's assistant and, how you say, sweet on Miss Hansen.
Was she the tall girl came in shortly after we did, Mr. Zabro?
Tall? Yes, I think so.
Are either of them still here?
No. They go.
Together?
Miss Hansen go first.
Very well. Come along, Archie.
Okay, Mr. Wolf.
You will not tell Mr. Hansen you know of my debts.
No, Mr. Zabro, I won't tell him. As a matter of fact, even if I wanted to, I don't think he would listen.
I love these long drives in the country. Where are we going?
Hansen's place.
Oh. You think he returned to it to haunt it, huh?
He was returned there, I suspect.
Uh-huh. In order to cast suspicion on himself.
Miss Hansen lives with him. Mr. Arndt works for him on the premises, therefore...
Miss Hansen will be there?
I imagine so. Why?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all. Boss, can we stop at the next town?
Why?
I want to buy a book on lilies.
This sudden... You mean Miss Hansen grows them and there?
Uh-huh. You see, that way we'll have something in common.
Perhaps, but Archie, is an interest in flowers what you want to have in common with her?
So this is the house that Orchids built, huh? Snazzy.
Very handsome country home.
For streamlined zombies.
Hello.
I take that back.
Miss Hansen?
Yes.
I'm Nero Wolf. The person ogling you is my assistant, Mr. Goodwin.
Oh. Well, Uncle's spoken of you, Mr. Wolf. Oh, come in, please.
Thank you.
I was not ogling. I was merely tracing a resemblance.
Oh, between Uncle and me?
Between you and my heart's desire.
Archie, stop being poetic. It doesn't become.
In here, please. My uncle isn't at home yet, but... Oh, John, this is Mr. Wolf, Mr. Goodwin. John is Uncle's assistant.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Mr. Hansen hasn't returned from town yet, Mr. Wolf.
Are you quite sure?
Why, yes. Unless Enid saw him.
No, I didn't, John.
Indeed. In that case, if you don't mind, we'll wait for him.
Well, of course, we'd be delighted.
Sure. Excuse me, won't you? I've got some work to do.
On orchids or lilies?
The orchids.
Well, then go right ahead.
See you later.
Oh, can I get you something to drink?
Beer will do, thank you.
I'd better help you bring the bottle in, Miss...
Archie.
On the other hand, maybe you can manage alone.
Well, of course I can. I'm a big girl, Mr. Goodwin.
I noticed. I mean, why not call me Archie? It takes less time.
I'd like to, Archie.
Swell. Remember what old Dr. Tidmouse said?
I want a bottle of beer.
He said, I want a bottle... Oh. No. Never mind, Enid. You'd better go gather some beer for Mr. Wolf.
All right. I'll be back in a minute.
So much of her and all so nice.
Archie, are you forgetting why we're here?
I don't care why you're here.
We're waiting for Uncle.
Uh-huh. Mr. Wolf, it's unlikely that Uncle is going to walk in through that front door.
True. That is why you're sneaking out the back door to find him.
How do you know he'll be around here?
This is where he lives, isn't it, Archie?
Yes, but if you'll remember, Uncle gave up living earlier this afternoon.
You mean he was persuaded to? Nevertheless, I rather think he'll be around. body and all.
He wasn't in the house, so I tried the conservatory, hothouse, what have you. It was hot in that steam-heated orchid paradise. Also, it was full of orchids. Unfortunately, it wasn't full of Miss Hanson. I wandered hither and yon for a moment, dreaming of her, until I noticed a foot. Same foot I'd seen back at Zabro's, and peculiarly enough, the same corpse was attached to it. Uncle's. I was bending over to take a closer look when I felt a thud. I realized that thud was the sound of something hitting my head, and I began to realize, too, that I'd been knocked almost unconscious, which the second blow did.
I can't understand where my uncle is, Mr. Wolf.
His staying away so late is unusual, then.
Of course it is.
Which reminds me, Archie's been gone for several hours.
Yeah, where did he go, Mr. Wolf?
To look about? Were you in the hothouse, Mr. Hunt?
No, I was packing some plants.
You, Miss Hanson?
Well, after I brought your beer, I went upstairs and rested for a while. Why?
Because if either of you harmed Archie, I shall personally murder you.
Oh, Mr. Wolf.
Come on, we got to find the boy.
Why should either of us want to harm him?
Because he probably found your uncle's body.
His body? What are you...
I don't understand.
Mr. Hanson has been murdered.
Oh no.
Enid.
Oh, stop that, Miss Hanson. You're a perfectly healthy young woman. There's no reason for you to swoon.
Now, look here, you.
Besides, I rather suspect she lost no love for him. Am I right, Miss Hanson?
He was my uncle.
You're aware of the fact? You opposed your marriage to Miss Aunt here, huh?
That's none of your business.
Which means he did oppose it. Mr. Arndt, Mr. Hanson was a friend of mine. I intend to find the murderer after I find his body. It shows a lack of proper respect to transport a corpse about the countryside. Come, both of you, we must find Archie.
This whole thing's like a nightmare.
Except you can't wake up from it. Let's go on with the search.
Oh, look, there on the ground.
Archie.
I'll see if he's all right.
Why, this is fantastic. Mr. Hanson stabbed to death, and now Goodwin.
He's just been stunned, thank heavens. He's coming to.
Oh, I died. Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm dead.
Archie, speak to me.
Oh, I went to heaven.
Are you all right, Archie?
The other place.
Get up.
Sure, if somebody will hold my head. Oh, are we having an earthquake?
You poor boy, take my arm here.
I'll take both.
Boy, he's normal. What happened, Archie?
Somebody hit me when I wasn't looking.
Yeah? Why?
I don't know. Oh, yes, I remember.
Yes?
I found Uncle lying right there. Right there.
The poor boy's delirious.
Don't tell me he's gone again.
I'm afraid he has, Archie.
Are you sure you saw him?
I'm positive, and then somebody slugged me. That corpse is the shyest one I've ever met.
Blood would have dried. There'll be no signs of his having been placed here. Bad.
Why?
Your testimony would be valueless, especially since you were found unconscious. The jury would suspect you of having hit the bottle.
Why didn't we stay the night? I'm a sick man. Enid would have nursed me.
You're not sick. And I won't have you taking advantage of that girl.
In my condition, I couldn't have. But maybe she would have taken advantage of me.
Hooey.
Is that what they called it in your day?
We're Zabros. Stop the car.
Okay. Dum-ba-dee-dum-dee-dee-dum. Here we go.
Oh, I can manage. I'm not entirely helpless.
Place is closed. Dark.
I was afraid it might be.
Don't tell me Zabro's gone traveling, too.
Possibility, Archie.
You mean he killed Hanson to cancel the debt he owed him, and then followed us out to the country house and dumped Hanson there, hoping to pin suspicion on Enid and John?
Perhaps.
Uh-huh. Slugged me when I found the body too soon, and then... Uh-huh. Guess we better get into the joint.
Door's locked?
A guy I know got out of jail the other day.
Yeah?
He's reformed, so he gave me all his skeleton keys.
You have them with you?
Mm-hmm. And we'll find out in a minute just how good a burglar he was. Very good. Will you come in?
Shut the door.
Okay.
Now. What's that?
Somebody's been hurt. The lights. Nothing up front here.
Back of the store where the exhibits are.
I'll go see. Maybe you better stay here.
Nonsense.
Oh, where? Oh, among the lilies again, but this time there are 2 bodies there.
Sabro. Quick, Archie.
Mr. Zabro? Mr. Zab? He's been shot, boss. Bad.
He's trying to say something.
In the lilies. Mr. Hansen.
Yes, we know about him. Who shot you?
From the window. Alleyway. Came in.
Mr. Zabro, who?
He inherit money. Inherit.
Down, Mr. Wolf, quick. Somebody's shooting from that window.
Archie.
All in one piece. Are you all right?
Yes, that car.
It's gone. Brought the body here and...
Zabro.
He couldn't duck. He's dead.
Yes.
Police, boss, this time we've got more than a fern leaf smeared with blood to show them.
Not yet, Archie. I'd prefer handing the murderer over to them along with the victims. I'm going home. Archie, get Miss Hanson and Mr. Arndt there as soon as you can.
Well, suppose they don't want to come.
Knock them unconscious and drag them there.
Not Enid, boss. Enid's... Hey, what Zabro said about inheriting.
Don't anticipate, Archie. When you get them to my office, we'll identify the murderer then.
Mr. Wolf, don't you think this is all a little high-handed, dragging us here in the middle of the night?
Murder is even more high-handed, Mr. Arndt.
Please, John.
Miss Hanson, do you inherit?
Well, I guess so. I'm Uncle's only relative, so I suppose.
Wait a minute, Enid. Mr. Wolf, are you suggesting that she had anything to do with this invisible corpse?
The corpse is no longer invisible, Mr. Arndt.
You've seen Uncle?
Yes, dead in Zabro's establishment. Lying with a knife in his back in his own orchid display.
Now you're trying to pin something on me. You know I set up that orchid display.
Indeed. The police will be interested in that information.
But he wasn't found in the orchids. He was...
Yes, Mr. Arndt. He was found where?
I don't know.
You were about to say the lily display, weren't you?
I wasn't going to say anything.
You're a little late. You already informed us that you knew his body was not placed in the orchid display. How did you know?
I just guessed.
The jury will be very much impressed by your remarkable clairvoyance, especially since, Archie asked Mr. Zabro to come in.
Mr. Zabro? Okay.
Don't bother, Goodwin.
John, that gun.
Shut up, you little fool.
Enid's a big girl.
I don't know how you tumbled, Wolf. Lucky guessing, maybe.
Oh, come now. Neither of us has indulged in guesswork. You killed Hanson, placed his body in the lily display to attract suspicion towards Miss Hanson. You felt sure she wouldn't be convicted, so you were safe. She would inherit, you would marry her, a marriage which your uncle opposed. But when you saw that Archie had discovered the body too early for you to establish an alibi for yourself...
Then he sneaked the body out of the window into his car and then dumped it in the hothouse.
For time.
Go on, Mr. Wolf.
He didn't intend it to be discovered there, which was why he knocked you unconscious, Archie.
Oh, I'm so glad he had a good reason for it.
He had a body on his hands. He decided to double back, put the body in its original place, and carry through his plan. But Zabro caught him at it, poor fellow.
I thought Zabro was in the other room.
Lost you fool. Do you think I, too, am addicted to carrying corpses about? Zabro is dead. And you've given yourself away unnecessarily. Archie?
All right.
Archie, quick.
Let go, Edith.
I've got his arm.
I'll give him mine with a fist attached.
Very satisfactory, Archie. Now call the police. Inform them you have 2 corpses and a murderer for them.
You should have heard Mr. Arndt's language, boss, when the police took him away. Oh, I don't think he loves you.
I don't think it matters anymore.
It used to me.
Growing pains. You'll get over it, Miss Hanson.
You trapped him, Mr. Wolf, but what made you so sure he did it?
At the hothouse, when you were unconscious, Archie, Mr. Arndt deplored the fact that Mr. Hanson had been stabbed in the back. And no one had mentioned how he was killed, therefore.
The reason Arndt knew was because he himself had killed Mr. Hanson. Murderers seldom get away with it, no matter how tightly they button their lips.
Well, mine, however, are not buttoned up. Archie?
Oh, the beer is on your desk.
Thank you. Miss Hanson, stop brooding. Try some of this beer.
But, Mr. Wolf, my heart's broken.
As a man who has lived a good many years, Miss Hanson, permit me to assure you that the easiest way of mending a broken heart is by filling the stomach.
You have been listening to The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, starring Sidney Greenstreet. Tonight's transcribed story was based on the characters created by Rex Stout. This is an Edwin Fadiman program produced and directed by J. Donald Wilson. In the cast were Larry Dobkin as Archie Goodwin and Gigi Pearson, Jay Novello, Herb Butterfield, and Byron Kane. Next week at this same time, Nero Wolfe and Archie will bring you The Case of the Deadly Sellout. Don Stanley speaking.
From 73 years ago, December 29, 1950, The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. As I said, tomorrow, a New Year's show with Burns and Allen, Great Gildersleeve, Fibber McGee and Molly, the Aldrich family, and Lum and Abner. Up next, we will visit Pine Ridge, Arkansas, and see what's going on with the prize-fighting episode of Lum and Abner, as Mousy Gray may win $1,000. Hang on.
In case of national civil defense emergency, the emergency broadcast system may be activated. Then you would receive essential information by turning your radio dial to an EBS station operating in your area. The emergency broadcast system stations will be easy to identify because of their repeated announcements of the area they're serving.
Thanks for being with me here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. By the way, that $1,000 that Mousy Gray may be fighting for, that would be almost $21,000 today in 2023 dollars. Lum and Abner, 82 years ago, December 29, 1941, and the prize fight may be on.
The makers of Alka-Seltzer bring you Lum and Abner. Folks, here's a recipe for having a good time, which I can heartily recommend to all you Lum and Abner listeners as being a sure thing. You take 1 part of congenial company, add an equal part of carefully laid plans, a dash of laughter and friendly fun, mix them well together, serve generously, and there you have it. A real recipe for having a good time if I ever heard one. But there's just one catch. You can't have a good time regardless of how carefully you've planned it or how congenial the company unless you're feeling good yourself. Good times and a headache, good times in an upset stomach or acid indigestion just don't mix. And that, friends, is one reason why we urge you to try friendly, helpful Alka-Seltzer. For when you take Alka-Seltzer for fun-spoiling headaches and minor stomach upsets, you'll feel better fast. You get the kind of relief that enables you to have that good time after all when you take Alka-Seltzer. So try it, won't you? Remember, you can get Alka-Seltzer at all drugstores either by the package or by the glass at the soda fountain. And now, let's see what's going on down in Pine Ridge. Well, a carnival's on its way to Pine Ridge, and one of its features is a fighter named Iron Ike, who'll meet all comers and who's offered $1,000 to anyone who could knock him out. Realizing that little, frail-looking Mousy Gray actually packs a terrific punch, Lum has been trying to talk Mousy into meeting Iron Ike, but so far his efforts have been to no avail. Today, as we look in on the little community, we find Abner in the Jot 'em Down store, and Lum has just returned from another conference with Mousy. Listen.
Any luck this time, Lum?
No luck. Granny's that Mousy Gray's not only the toughest one feller in this town, he's the stubbornest one, too.
Well, won't he fight Iron Ike?
No,
Well, why won't he?
'cause he ain't mad at him.
Huh?
That's what he keeps saying. Says he can't see no reason for fighting a feller he ain't mad at.
Well,
Granny's I argued with him for an hour trying to explain that a box fight's different from getting mad and fighting, but he can't see it that way.
well, did you tell him about the money? The $1,000 that Iron Ike says he'll give to any feller that knocks him out?
Yeah, but even that never done no good.
You mean Mousy don't want no $1,000?
Oh, he'd like to have that all right. Said he'd like to buy Gussie a lot of stuff with the money, but he ain't mad and he won't fight.
Well, I'll be dead blamed.
Granny's he'd have been a sensation, too. A overnight sensation. There'd be great big headlines in all the big newspapers. Sensation knockout by Lum Eddard's protege.
Protege?
Yeah, it means Mousy's sort of my discovery.
Oh.
See, I was going to be his manager and boxing promoter and take him to New York and all such as that. Now, all that's lost just 'cause Mousy won't get mad at a feller.
Well, why don't we just get Mousy mad at him then?
Huh?
That's what we can do, Lum. Tell Mousy something that'll make him hate and despise Iron Ike.
Yeah, but well, what are we going to tell him, though?
Why? Well, don't you recollect how Mousy got mad at you that time he come over and knocked you down?
Well, that was on account of he thought I'd give Gussie a locket for a present.
Well, sure, that's what we can tell Mousy that Iron Ike's fixing to do now.
Wait a minute. Granny's Abner, that's the best one idea you ever had. Yeah, get Mousy on the phone right away.
Well, here, I don't want to get mixed up.
Hurry up, we ain't got many days left to get Mousy in training for the fight. Go on, ring him up.
Well, all right, I'll try it.
Make it sound like it was some gossip you just happened to overhear.
Gossip, huh?
Yeah. Tell him Iron Ike admires Gussie. That ought to make him mad enough.
Yeah, well, now, we don't want to get him too mad, Lum. Don't forget that mean temper he's got.
Yeah, that's right. Well, don't make it too strong.
No, I'll... wait a minute. Hello? Is that you, Mousy? Well, this is Abner Peabody. Oh, tolerably well, I reckon. Listen, Mousy, I just happened to overhear some gossip about Iron Ike.
That's it. Tell him he admires Gussie.
Yeah, he admires Gussie. Oh, I just overheard it.
Tell him about the present, Abner.
He's going to bring her a present when the carnival gets here. Huh? Oh, just a minute. He wants to know what the present is, Lum.
Oh, I don't know. Tell him anything. Pair of pink bedroom slippers or anything.
A pair of pink bedroom slippers. Yeah, and he said that he would... Hello? 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 Oh, you must have hung up.
Well, good. That's a good sign, Abner. He's sure enough mad now.
Well, you don't think we got him too mad, do you?
I don't think so. We need something strong like this to get him stirred up.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm going to be a big boxing promoter yet. I better be getting me one of them big bathrobes.
Bathrobe?
Yeah, that's what the big champion boxers wears whenever they climb into the boxing ring. Seen some pictures of them once in the moving pictures.
Oh.
They had their name sewed right across the back of the robe. Looks awfully important.
Well, you ain't going to be one of them boxing fighters, Lum.
No, but I figure the manager ought to have a bathrobe, too.
Oh.
That'll be everybody'll know who I am. See?
Sure.
I have Lum Eddard's manager and head promoter sewed right across the back of mine.
Good for you.
That ought to make a few eyes bug out whenever I walk into Madison Square Garden with that thing on.
Madison's garden.
Well, sure. You don't think I'm going to stop with this little carnival fight with Iron Ike here in Pine Ridge, do you? No, sir, that's just a beginning. Iron Ike's just a stepping stone for us. I'm going to promote Mousy right up to the World Championship.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do over there in Madison's garden?
Why, I'm going to make $1 million or $1,000. That's what I'm going to do.
Not on the wages old Buford pays, you won't.
Old Buford?
Yeah, ain't that who you're talking about, old Buford Madison? He's the only Madison around here I know of that's got a garden.
For goodness sake, I said Madison Square Garden.
Well, I don't know what shape it is. All I know is it ain't a very big garden. And old Buford won't pay nobody over 15 cents an hour to work in it. As Cedric, he worked over there for a while last summer. Old Buford make him work awful fast, Lum. I don't believe you could keep up.
I ain't aiming on keeping up with nobody at Buford's place.
Well, he'll fire you then. Fact is, I doubt if he'll even hire you in the first place, going over in a bathrobe.
I weren't talking about Buford's garden.
You said you was going to walk in there wearing a bathrobe with your name sewed across the back. Dogged old Buford's going to think you're a little Lum. Fact is, I do too.
Listen, Abner, the Madison Square Garden I'm talking about is in New York City.
New York City?
Yes, sir, right in the middle of it. A great big place.
Oh, well, that's different. Yeah, they'll more than likely pay higher wages for garden work there than old Buford does.
Abner, this is a place where they have a lot of big fights.
Big fights? Oh, well, them garden workers ought to learn to get along with one another better. They won't make no money if they're going to fight all the time. Maybe you oughtn't to go there, Lum. That might be a dangerous place.
You got the wrong idea, Abner. In the kind of garden I'm talking about, they don't grow nothing.
They don't?
Of course not.
Well, I know you oughtn't to go then. You never would make no money in a garden like that. Have they tried irrigating?
For goodness sake. Madison Square Garden is a great big building in New York where they hold boxing fights and basketball games and 6-day bicycle racing and all such as that.
They do?
Why, sure.
Well, no wonder they can't grow nothing. Them bicycles run around all over everything. Now, if they'll keep them bicycles out of there and put up some fences and cut out that fighting and
Abner,
scuffling...
it ain't a garden, it's a building.
You said it was
I know, but that's just what it's called. Wait a minute. I believe that's our ring.
I still think they water it good and keep them bicycles off.
Hello, jot 'em down, store, library, and bakery. Lum Eddard's box promoter and manager speaking.
Don't have to go there to start no fight
Huh?
in the garden.
Oh, hello, Gussie.
Go over to Elizabeth's garden.
No, Mousy ain't here.
Start riding bicycles, scuffling.
You mean he's coming down to the store?
He'll whip him and Mousy both.
He did, huh?
Oh, it makes her awful mad.
Uh-huh.
Where she staked them beans up.
Well, I do know.
Scuffle, roll over 'em.
Well, thank you for the warning, Gussie.
Wouldn't do it.
All right. Goodbye. Abner, can you see Mousy coming down the street?
Mousy? No.
Well, he'll be here in a minute.
Huh?
Gussie said he's heading over here, and she's feared he's mad again.
Hey, doggies, my eye, they must have worked, Lum.
Yeah, she said he got some kind of a phone call and then sat right down and wrote something on a piece of paper and then left.
Well...
Wouldn't tell her nothing about it. Acted awful mysterious, she said.
Oh, well, he's mad then. Maybe we oughtn't to have did this, Lum. You don't reckon he'll be so riled up he'll want to come over here and hit us, do you?
I hope not. That's what Gussie was warning me about.
Oh, my goodness.
Feared Mousy was mad at me again.
Oh, my, I wish now I had... Oh, wait a minute. Ain't that him coming yonder?
Yep, that's Mousy, all right. And he don't look mad.
No.
I wonder if he ever changes that expression on his face.
I don't know. I feel sort of scared, though, Lum. Reckon we ought to hide and make out like we ain't here.
No, don't worry. Iron Ike's the one he's after.
Yes, huh?
There ain't no one thing makes Mousy madder than to have somebody give Gussie a present.
Oh, my
I know.
goodness.
I tried it.
Yeah, you tried that. He hit you awfully. Mind out. There he comes.
Well, howdy, Mousy. Come on in.
Hello, Lum. Abner?
What can we do for you today, Mousy?
Lum, do you know where you send a letter to Iron Ike? It's got to go right away.
Oh, Iron Ike. Well, yeah, I reckon we could take care of that for you, Mousy. You ain't mad, are you?
Well, I will be if that letter isn't sent right away, before Iron Ike comes to Pine Ridge. I may lose my temper if it misses him.
Oh, well, don't worry. We'll get it to him.
Well, I wish you would, Lum, before I go into another rage. Well, I'll appreciate it if you'll take care of it for me, Lum.
Yeah, we'll look after it for you. Don't you worry.
Well, goodbye.
Goodbye, Mousie. Everything will be all right now. Don't you worry about it.
Doggy. There's a mad feller if ever I seen one.
He is. He's fit to be tied.
I'd give anything to know what he written that letter to Iron Ike.
Yeah, me too. Got me a little worried, too.
Oh, my, no.
Look like he said get it to Iron Ike before he gets here.
Yeah.
That means he more than likely threatening Ike to stay out of town.
Just about it.
And if that happens, we won't have no box fight.
Oh, my goodness. Reckon we ought to just sort of peek in that letter, Lum.
Well, I don't like to tamper with other folks' mail.
Well, you're his manager. You ought to know what he's writing.
Just to play safe, I think we ought to.
Sure, we can seal it back up. He won't know the difference.
Tell him how strong Mousie wrote this.
Oh, he was
Might
mad.
get us in a batch of trouble.
Yeah. Get a fight started around here.
It's a short letter, ain't it?
Huh? Yeah. What does it say, Lum?
Let's see. Dear Iron Ike, don't bring Gussie pink bedroom slippers.
Oh, he's mad, all right. Go on, Lum.
Bring her blue ones instead. That's her favorite color. Your friend, Mousie. Well, I'll be dead.
You know, folks, there's been quite an epidemic of colds making the rounds in Pine Ridge recently. How's it been out your way? Well, if a cold has caught up with you, I'm sure you'll welcome the news we have for you now, for here's a mighty effective way to real relief from much of the discomfort it's causing you. And it's as easy as ABC. Just listen. A, Alka-Seltzer. Start taking Alka-Seltzer according to the directions on the package just as quickly as possible. B, begin to take other common sense precautions as well. Eat wisely, dress sensibly, and get more rest than usual. And C, comfort that sore, raspy throat by gargling with a solution made by dissolving 2 Alka-Seltzer tablets in a quarter glass of warm water. Do these 3 things, and you should be more than pleased with the prompt, pleasant way Alka-Seltzer makes you feel better. How it eases that stuffed-up, ache-all-over feeling and that dull headache. Be sure to try it, won't you? Now, if you don't happen to have a package of Alka-Seltzer tablets in your home when a cold strikes, remember, you can get one at any drugstore.
Oh, my goodness. They're always trying, Lum and Abner. That episode goes all the way back 82 years ago, December 29th, 1941. Tomorrow on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, George and Gracie, the Great Gildersleeve, Fibber and Molly, the Aldrich family, and another episode of Lum and Abner and trying to get Mousie to fight for $1,000. That would be good. I mean, who couldn't use $1,000 back then? $21,000 today. Have yourself a great day. Visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. Thanks to Bob and Sean and all of you who have supported our Buy Me a Coffee campaign. It's always great. You can do that at classicradio.stream and support this podcast. And we will talk with you tomorrow for another edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.